It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans hit the practice field at 1:30 this afternoon. Blaine and Mickey will be there as they prepare for more joint practices, this time with the Arizona Cardinals this week. The Titans defeated the Bucs 13-3 this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. Malik Willis went 7 of 17 for 80 yards and this touchdown.
Willis looks left, looks to the right, comes back, fires. Touchdown! Titans! Chig Akakwo! The two Atlanta natives who knew each other in high school hook up for a big 6.
Titans wide receiver Kyle Phillips joins Ramon and Will at 8:30 this morning. Astros beat the Braves 5-4. Meanwhile, the Mets defeated the Phillies 10-9. New York has a 4-game lead over the Braves in the NL East. Nashville SC blasted FC Dallas 4-0 at Geodis Park last night for the Boys in Gold. The win snapped their 6-game winless streak. Raleigh Foundation Repair and Waterproofing needs. Visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
A very good Monday morning to you in the Music City. Welcome to Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, where we have got the Titans' most exciting rookie in 2022 training camp live with us today in hour number 3. We got Kyle Phillips, we got Kayla Anderson, we've got Kevin Dyson, and we have got Titans and Bucs takeaways for you all throughout the show until 10 a.m. Alongside NFL veteran, Vol for Life, Ramon Foster. My name is Will Bowling. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen today. We got 4 hours of high energy, a lot of Titans talk coming your way. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, William. Young Will. Young Billiam. Will the Bully. Which one are we calling him?
Depends on the day. I've been called much worse. I've been called much better.
Both of those
Third
things
down
will occur during this show.
Shake's like, keep it up. Oh, wow. The sky is like reddish blue right now.
We have entered the upside down.
What is is that what you say?
It's a Stranger Things
Is
thing.
it?
It's one of the Stranger Things.
I gotta watch this. Did you watch Dragons last night? Game of
I have
Thrones?
not yet.
House of Dragons, is that what it's called?
Dragons,
So
yeah.
I last night decided I'm going to watch Nashville SC, and then I'm going to immediately go to sleep. So I'm saving post nap today. House of Dragon. I have seen one spoiler that there needs to be like a statute of limitations on when you can start
filter?
revealing details about a show.
Yeah.
I had to manage that during the Better Call Saul finale too. Of like, I'm just not going to get on Twitter until I can watch it. That one I just watched an hour after it was on. But
I hadn't watched it. The new season of Better Call Saul. I will do this stuff. I know there's a show like I used to watch Power a whole lot on Stars, and I log on and I see a hint or a clip, and I'm like, nope, scroll past real quick.
Yeah, right.
That's all I do, man. I know people want to talk. Will
I know they do.
people want to tell you the secret, and some people thrive off of ruining stuff for you like that.
They
too.
really do.
I'm like, why do you get off on just making sure that it's ruined for everybody else that hadn't watched it? Like, you got a group chat, I'm sure, with a bunch of friends that watch the same shows that you watch. Like, text them. Don't get on social media doing that. I freaking hate that, man.
No, it's true. And I do enjoy that about the HBO app.
Yeah.
Is that typically the second a new episode starts, it's immediately on that app. So that's just how I watch all these things. It's one of my friend's passwords, and I will be doing that today. That's fair.
I especially enjoy Ramon's HBO Max subscription personally.
Because you're my dog. That's why, man. What's mine is yours, and what's yours, I hadn't gotten yet.
That's that. You're still waiting on that to come in the mail.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 is our number this morning if you want to jump in.
We had some people pulling back on their Malik takes.
We did.
And
we've got a lot of spicy nuggets that we can take away from the Titans' 13-3 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And it was an actual win.
It was.
It was a win.
It was.
It was some good things that happened. Well, that's what we're here for, right?
Instead of playing the preseason Super Bowl champions, you were playing an actual recent Super Bowl champion.
All right. It was a win. It was a bad game.
It was not a win for the game of football. It was a win for the Tennessee Titans. Not a win for the institution of offensive football in the National Football League.
Yeah, hey, y'all. Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
Not
We're
at all.
trying. Hey, that's what the preseason is for. Before we go Titans, man, Kayvon Thibodeau last night.
Man. I saw our buddy Mike Golick Jr. tweets last night. Twitter is talking about the validity or cleanliness of a cut block. Football is truly back.
Yeah.
A tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals puts his helmet right in the knee of former Oregon edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau and now New York Giants edge rusher, and it didn't look good.
He walked away.
He did.
He was on the sideline laughing. If you hadn't seen the hit, of course, Twitter will show you all you need to see around it, but goodness. And you know what, Will? We texted about it last night. I was talking to my wife about it. I showed my boys and everything. I was like, technically, that ain't a dirty hit.
Football play.
It's not an illegal hit. It just looks bad. And, of course, he's a rookie. I guarantee you this. He won't let that happen again because those big red balls that they have like on the football field with a D lineman push him away.
Jonathan Schaefer moved with speed over to the board.
I know he did, man. But that's what that is for. It's like to shield them off of you. Or like he went lower and like that is a natural like tight end play. Is like to cut the edge to seal him. So it just looked bad, Will. I saw a lot of people, this is dirty. I'm like, let's talk about y'all crackbacking people.
We gotta
Mom's dirty.
We also gotta pace ourselves over the course of an entire football season with our takes like this.
Yeah, we do, man.
It's a long season.
But as I said, we're back.
We are back.
We are back, man.
Titans back at Nissan Stadium, back in the win column over the weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have got a trio of guests who we're going to talk with, including one that I said it on the top of the show has been the Titans' best rookie through camp. Kyle Phillips is on with us today, and he has earned the nickname The Professor by wide receivers coach Rob Moore, who calls him a know-it-all. He says that in a good way. I wonder if y'all mean it in a good way when you call me a know-it-all. I really hope so.
What do you think, Will?
Come on. Give us that real answer.
We call that a self-burn at 6:07 a.m. is what we call that. Got to get out in front of it. You got to control the narrative.
What's crazy is, I want to know this from Kyle Phillips too, the professor.
Yeah.
That was an and one mixtape basketball player. Like, I wonder if that's why, because he's shaking people too. That's what the professor did. You don't remember and one mixtapes?
Well, I remember
but
that.
you don't remember the. Oh, my
I don't remember
God.
the professor specifically.
YouTube, man.
Okay. All right.
The professor. And that's the reason. Well, one, he's a white wide receiver that shakes people.
That's fair.
That's what the professor
He's
did.
sneaky quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a high football IQ.
But he calls
lunch
him
pail
that.
guy.
He calls him that because he's a all the stereotypes. He calls him that because he's a know-it-all. He's super smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's sneaky quick.
Yeah, no.
Deceptively fast. I wonder if can we ask Kyle Phillips what his favorite white wide receiver stereotype is?
Can we go? It's got to be a white guy to ask that question.
A high motor.
He's coach's son. He played quarterback in high school up until his recruitment to go to UCLA. Second out in 10.
He went there for the grades and just could actually play
Here's the
football.
snap. Real first in, last out kind of guy. As there's a pass on the left side of Phillips. First down.
That's a deep, long drive from Castellanos.
See,
I pride
it's
myself
not
as a
me
man
with
of
the
faith.
jokes, people. I'm hands off of
There's
this.
a deep drive to left into Castellanos.
I'm
That'll make it a
hands
4-1
off
ball
of
game.
this joke, baby.
615-737-1045. Oh, goodness. We
let's
started
get the
quick
turn
out of the
rolling.
blocks today, didn't we?
We did, man. I saw you coming in.
Starting quick. Hey, welcome to the Terror Dome, pal.
Welcome to the Terror Dome.
I'm in my drive phase, about 10 meters into the race right now.
Yeah, hey, you know what? We're here and ready to go. We were talking. What were we talking about as we come in? Oh, he was just like, man, the Mondays is like, let's go. I was like,
There's a
dude,
little adrenaline boost.
I'll never not appreciate Mondays during football season.
I like Monday.
I don't care if it's a bye week. I don't care if it's a terrible Monday night game. Won't go. Won't live that life anymore, Shafe. I've dealt with it. Will not live that life again. Where I don't appreciate football season, man. And we're here. Weather's starting to. I like when the weather starts.
Feels good right now.
Went to a Braves game this weekend.
Yeah,
too.
you did. I was gonna say you were down there for a good series.
For a good series.
You
And
go to what? Friday, Saturday?
I went just Saturday. I drove down
just Saturday.
Friday
Okay,
though
cool.
because at the hotel already. Might as
Yeah,
well
that's right.
go. But it was a good time. That Braves thing, hey, If you hadn't been to Truist, man.
Is that your first time?
That was my first time at
No
Truist
way.
Park.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
It was.
Sweet.
It was. I stayed at the hotel when RJ went to a showcase down there just because I wanted to see it and everything. But Truist Park is nice. The Battery area is friggin' phenomenal, man.
Great.
It is, and everybody was cool. Like, it wasn't one of those, like, bad fan base with no, like, people talk to me, and I got recognized. I'm like, what?
Did you really?
Dude.
It's SEC's. It's the SEC's
times.
baseball team.
Yeah, it was a dude we were eating breakfast by in an Ole Miss shirt and stuff like that. He kept looking. I'm like, I know this look.
But you got recognized?
Yeah.
Flex.
No, like I wasn't trying to shave. Like I go to baseball games so I can just chill out, okay? Like me going to football games would turn into what? It would turn into like a film session.
It turns into Ron Slay being in Knoxville.
I was going to say, walking around with you and Slay at the state high school football championship last year in 6A between Summit and Oakland.
So
I was like, man, this is...
And that's not a flex, not whatsoever.
I'll flex for you.
Absolutely not.
It's going to be a lot less intimidating when I flex for you, but, you know.
Hey, I can't wait to find your track buddies up there.
Yeah, both of them.
All two of them.
Yeah.
But it was
tens of people that will recognize me when I go to a Tennessee game.
It was being a football player kind of puts you friggin' like the size. That's first and foremost. Okay, I think that's a conversation starter for a bunch of people.
You're like Buddy the Elf sitting in the sitting in Santa's workshop with the elves.
That's exactly.
Everybody else around you is just on a different level, and then you're just sitting there in one of those little chairs, like, oh, this thing's about
this is weird.
A fifth of my size.
Somebody's watching me.
Yeah, right.
And if they don't know, it sparks the conversation almost. And I don't mind. I don't want to seem like it's a bother at all.
Right.
I don't mind. But every single time, I'm like big guy in a room full of people, and I can see over top of everybody's head, it's at least one or two. Who'd you used to play for? I'm like, I'm here with my kids and my wife, man. Come on.
Yeah, right, come on. We're having a time.
Yeah, we're having a time.
Come on, man.
I'll tell you what is really funny, and this is a really random one. In the first cross country meet I ever had for Tennessee, my freshman year, I was like 2-3 weeks into school. We were at Virginia Tech. We were racing there.
Yeah.
And we stopped after we had a lightning. We had the race got canceled because of lightning mid-race, which is the only time I've ever had that happen. Like we were a mile in, and they were like, "Hey, like we have to stop," and they like were waving at us to stop. And, so we did, and whatever. So we were going for like post-race dinner. We were at Panera in Blacksburg, no free shout-outs, and this guy comes up to us and was like, "So, we're all wearing the matching gear. We all got the backpacks. Like, we're very clearly like we're doing something in Tennessee, and a bunch of like nerdy looking like scrawny dudes that we might as well be the chess team. Like nobody knows what we're doing." This guy was up to us and goes, "Are you guys the basketball team?" It's like, what? We would be the worst basketball team in the history of college basketball. I mean, what do we? It was really weird.
Way too white for that.
That's what I'm saying. I was like
the basketball team.
Like if I turn sideways, you're not gonna see me. Like what? Who am I posting up down low? Nobody.
And how tall? What are you 6'2"?
Yeah.
You 6'2"? Yeah. So I could get how you're a point guard type, but no, my brother.
Then you hand me a basketball, and it's like what do I do?
Start kicking it.
I know, literally. That's what I said.
You'll start kicking it, man.
615-737-1045. We got a good show for you today. Lots of Titans to discuss. We got Tennessee football players playing for 17 days and leaving. We've got SEC football that starts this week with Look, I don't know who Vanderbilt had to bribe to. Yeah, I was going a different direction. I was going to be nice.
You got triggered there.
Vanderbilt's basketball team and football team have both gotten to play in Hawaii in the past calendar year. It's a pretty good gig.
That's a solid gig.
You get a good education, you get a trip to Hawaii. It's not bad. Third down. We're going to talk about that as the week goes as well. Kayla Anderson, Kevin Dyson, Kyle Phillips. Kevin Dyson at 7:20. Kyle Phillips, we'll talk with him at 8:30 this morning. We've got Kayla Anderson, who was on the sidelines crushing it.
She was.
Over the weekend for the Titans Network.
Too.
That's right. So we will get the report from her of what she heard on the sidelines down there at 9:20. But coming up next, some Titans had good days, a couple not so good days.
Some pushed forward.
And I'm going to let you talk about the offensive line already at 6:20.
We
let you nerd out a little bit.
Can we talk about this punting situation too?
I think we have to.
There's a few we got to roll into, man.
Ryan Stonehouse's first punt will land in 3 to 5 business days. This show's going to last 4 hours, and it's on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon Foster for my friends at Window Nation. And it's their back to school sale. Listen to me. Back to school is here, and Window Nation can help you get an A plus in savings. Right now, get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy and pay nothing. Yes, nothing until 2025. That's like a free scholarship, okay? You get some cash in your pocket. You can use it towards your kids' school supplies or treat yourself. Because Window Nation savings will keep on moving. As temperatures soar, so do your energy bills with old, inefficient windows. So stay cool, lower those bills, and raise the value of your home with new Energy Star efficient windows. Window Nation has expertly installed over 1 million windows, rewarding and increasing value in over 150,000 homes, all with over 96% needing no follow-up service. That's an A+, and I promise you that saves you a headache. You don't want the follow-up service. Now, it's your turn to make the smart choice and go to the head of the class. Get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy. Buy 4, get 4. Yes, that's simple. There is no limit to them. Plus, make no down payment whatsoever, and no interest until 2025. You'll save big during Window Nation back to school sale. Call today at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Again, that's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. Tell them Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. Which Titans helped themselves or hurt themselves the most against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? That's the conversation this morning in Hour 1. You can join us at 615-737-1045. Tell you what, one of the Titans who helped themselves the most is coming up in hour number 3, 8:20. Kyle Phillips, Tennessee Titans rookie wide receiver, will sit down with us. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer with you here on this Monday. So at the surface level, Moan, who helps themselves the most for you in this 13-3 win? Thank you.
What are we calling? We want to go lightly with it. Who tightened up or tightened down a little bit?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah,
Chase,
let's tighten up. Yeah, let's tighten up.
Who tightened up? Okay. MPF.
Oh, really?
He tightened up to me.
Should have known you'd start with alignment.
I'll just give you a list, and we'll just go through them a little bit. Aaron Brewer did also.
Okay.
The more and more I see him play the kid as a gamer, I like the way he played. Caleb Farley was another one. And I know we have that clip, too, of Vrabel talking about, like, he gets, what do you want? He overexhausts himself a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He's excited.
He runs hot. He's one of them where, he idles high is what you want to say about him, man. Who else on this list? Chance Campbell.
Chance Campbell was great, and there is a need at inside linebacker with Monty Rice still on the PUP list. Chance Campbell's taking advantage.
He played well, I thought, man. Did he have a couple missteps? Yes, he did. But I figured a guy that was playing in front of that front line did a hell of a job for being a rookie. Not just that. What was he, a 7th-round draft pick this year, too? 6 or 7 round draft pick. I thought he did well this past game. NWI texted y'all too last night or Saturday and was like, you say what you want to about NWI. He's always on the scene. He's always making a catch, and he always plays the game well, dude. I was excited about watching him play this past weekend. Pretty solid. Stonehouse.
Ryan Stonehouse had a punt that legitimately traveled 80 yards.
And another one, because we can go down this list of guys I thought did pretty good, but Chiga Conko also did pretty well, too, in the game.
Got his first professional touchdown. Mm-hmm. Stonehouse is an interesting one, man, because he also just joined the running back battle.
Yes.
Ryan Stonehouse is going to be the first punter-running back duo in NFL history. No, he... that competition is very, very much on, and you know this as well as anyone, that the second you show something like that in preseason, the Titans have zero chance now of stashing Ryan Stonehouse in their practice squad and somebody else not noticing what he has done. Because the second you put a 68-yard punt on that stat sheet that really traveled 8 yards, 10 yards even deep in the end zone, it was closer to a 75-yard punt than it was a 68-yard punt. If you let that guy go and you stay with Brett Kern, he is gone elsewhere.
Field flipping.
The ship will have sailed at that point.
Oh,
so
my goodness,
you might be downgrading in the short term at that position a little bit because he's got the driver, but he didn't have the 9-iron. He doesn't know how to place it inside the 20. Now, he did have 2 kicks inside the 20 in this game, but I think this was the first time. And we've been telling people this out at camp. I think Brett Kern knows it. Front office knows it. That locker room knows it. And I think fans are starting to know it too. Like, okay.
Yeah, there's a difference.
This might be happening.
Yeah. Another one too. Dylan Elam brought it up too. Our guy Weaver, Rashad Weaver. He had a good, solid game too, man. Got a sack, worked the guy off the edge. He's been working the move. I saw him work in practice where he continues to rush. He said he was getting super impatient with how to get after the quarterback, and it kind of showed a little bit. But the last 2 weekends, he has been heavy-bodied, long arm. Like you look at him, you saw him in person. Well, the kid's a big old kid, man.
He was my player of the game in that game.
He was your player. See,
honestly, we talked about that on Titans Talk Back. Kevin Dyson and I, and he just, I think, plays a really big role in this defense this year as the third edge rusher. And we've talked a lot about this, that Harold Landry plays a whole lot of snaps.
Yes,
and
he does.
Originally that was to a detriment, right? As he's beginning his NFL career, you want to focus on one thing and make it really simple. And you want to be see ball, hit ball, and play with the same speed you did in college by simplifying what your role is. It's not the case for Harold Landry anymore. Mike Vrabel trusts him to play in coverage. He trusts him to be a run stopper and be more than just a fastball 3-4 speed rush outside linebacker. But I think particularly as far as Bud Dupree is concerned, the fresher that you can keep him over the course of an entire game and a season,
sir.
I think Rashad Weaver makes those two guys better this year.
Mm-hmm. I think so also. And not just that, having the ability to put him out there if you need a what do you want to call a NASCAR package?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, putting him at D tackle.
They'll go to that.
100%. Putting him, I don't think he's overly fast, but I think he's good. He's shown to be really good in the pass rush to be able to make it a high alert situation for guards and centers. And if for anything, put him in the middle and let him, spy and bat balls down. That's where he is too. As far as look, you got to find a way to put a guy like this on the field. And I'm not overstating it a little bit either. It's just that what we saw these last couple of weeks in game and in practice, it's been consistently going from one to the other, week after week. So you got to commend that. I'm excited, and not just him in that second line, but Ola was a good rusher off the edge for him this past game too. Those guys really got after it for the most part, man. When you look at what was done defensively from the second line around, and Tier.
Where's that been?
Goodness.
That Titans defensive coaching staff has been waiting for that kind of performance from Tier Tart.
Yes, Tier Tart. He has shown up and more consistently in these last couple weeks than I think all of last year. We knew he had the power and the finesse to get it done. I knew he dropped some weight this spring and it's actually looking like it's paying off for him too.
615-737-1045 is the number. Which Titans impressed you the most or maybe disappointed you the most against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a 13-3 win in Nissan Stadium? Let's go to the phones. Our first call this morning to Cuzzo Mike.
Michael.
Checking in with us today. What's going on, Mike?
What up, though? Hey, two things. What's up, Ramon? How was your weekend, man?
It was solid, man.
We're doing good.
No complaints. We avoided a bad rain, so we're good over here.
Right on. I had, that's good. I'm glad y'all had a good weekend. I hate to ruin your Monday, Will, but I'm coming for your job, baby. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all my resume real quick. So pretty much I don't have a baby face. I do eat hot fruit, especially in a pie. I don't light up like an LED light. My references are Ronald Sylvester Slay.
Oh, wow. I put you over the edge.
Also, you cannot contact them, and I can't pass the drug test. So, I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to do like a RWC, that's cool too.
Hey, I like it.
Hey, I'm available. Yeah. RCW, I'm available.
Mike, have your people talk to my people. Just have your people talk to my people.
That's where we're at.
No. My people, my references speaks for itself, okay? But you cannot contact them and tell them, okay? That it's all right.
Don't tell them.
I guess Slay can't be a reference for me now. That's kind of tough.
Well, look, let me give y'all my Titan. Let me give y'all what I felt about the Titan, about the game real quick. So as far as playing off of Ramon, because I'm a professional like that, so, tighten up, tighten down. I'm honestly looking at, I'm going to go ahead and say it real quick. What's his name? The offensive coordinator, Downey. I'm looking at him. He didn't tighten up. He didn't tighten down. He stayed in the middle. What was our number one key to the game, just about every game? Fast start. Oppose your will. Come out strong. I know it's preseason. I know they got things that they want to try. But, his rhythm in the game is like that dude in a Buick in the fast lane that don't want to speed up until you're trying to pass him. And it annoys me, yo. And, so that's who I'm looking at. That's who I think really needs to, in the beginning of the season, show us something different. As far as the players go, I'm appreciating J-Rob. I'm appreciating the continuity, and I see how they've changed their personnel around, their scouting around, and we're picking up good guys. We just got to get them in that system, and that dude Downing got to get some rhythm. You're not in a Buick, baby. You got hitters out there. Treat it that way. Oppose our will. Tighten up. Y'all have a good Monday. Will, don't get comfortable. Deuces. Tighten up. Gas pedal.
Thank you, Mike.
That was fair.
It's a good call.
That was fair on the down. It didn't tighten up or down. He's a guy in the fast lane.
Yeah. I mean, there's
That
only so
makes
much you can
sense.
show in the preseason.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'll say this too, Mike, to back him up what Will just said too, is the fact that Malik was under a little duress, especially from that second unit of guys, man. And he got happy feet. What do you want to call it, Will? He just unsettled in the pocket for the most part, man. And I'll push back a little bit. First play of the game for him, play action set up. He delivered it down the middle.
On the money. And that is the
did.
money play the Titans' offense is. That's why A.J. Brown was a 1,000-yard receiver, is
100%.
because of that bang play action slant over the middle.
He did start the game with that. I thought that was good. After that, it was like, okay, what's our next rhyme or reason? So I'll give you credit. It was ups and downs, but as you said, it's the preseason. Not every starter is out there. Tannehill wasn't out there too. Who else do you have on this list, Will?
For good performances?
Yeah.
The other good performance I had was Kyle Phillips for just winning the Titans punt return job.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's over.
Oh,
I'm ready to go ahead and call that.
Yep.
It was kind of funny,
fair.
Mike Keith talking to Mike Vrabel after the game on Titans radio post-game. Basically, he asks Mike point blank and says, Coach, did Kyle Phillips win the punt return job today? And it's like Mike Vrabel's mind is programmed to give a non-answer to that, and he did at the start and just says, well, it's not time to go ahead and declare these things done. And then he goes, but, he's our starter until somebody else does a better job than him. Like, he didn't say the word starter. It's like he said that without saying starter. I'm paraphrasing, but basically word for word, he said he's going to keep doing that job until somebody takes away from him. Like, oh, okay, so he's the starter.
Oh,
Perfect.
we have Mike's answer to Mike.
Oh, do
Keith's
you really?
question. Yep.
Oh, perfect.
You no longer get to talk.
That's basically told Mike, don't ask me questions I can't answer directly.
Man, he was Vrabel a little spicy yesterday in his post 13-3 Tampa Bay win.
Oh, we have some of that too, Will.
Do you really?
After that, I stopped actually listening.
Was that him live with Buck Rising? Or is
hey, you just got here,
hey,
man.
Can you spot the live, please?
Woo.
Can you try to find the live for me?
Can I say this also?
It's not in this room. Might be in there.
Man,
I'm gonna go here real quick if
Please
y'all don't mind. I know Vrabel handed out his awards for the offseason.
That's right.
I know in that group was Dylan Radins.
Uh-oh. Now to the Tighten Down portion of the segment.
I'm not impressed.
Not a good day.
For a multitude of reasons.
Not a good day for him.
2 weekends in a row. He's given up off the edge. He had a false start that would have potentially ended up being a bad sack, man. He continues to be on the ground a little bit. And what do they say? Athletes don't be on the ground or the ground is hot. You got to get up high. I find him a lot of the time, like, the thing about Jack Conklin, and I'm not, going back and saying, oh, here we go. Back in my day type of stuff. Jack had a funny move to the way he kicks it.
Yeah.
But Jack was so big and so athletic, though, that it didn't matter to him. He could swallow guys up. He can move people around. I find Radins more times than not, like waist bending, turning the edge a little bit too soon. It's almost as if, and I heard his post-game interview where he feels more comfortable at right, but there wasn't a bunch of comfortable things that was happening over there too. And it was just a bunch of things, man, that I was writing notes behind it a little bit, man. Like he's causing Malik to get out of the pocket a little bit more than I'm used to actually seeing him, man. The communication aspect of it, the getting to the second level as far as the lineman to linebacker aspect of the game goes, I'm not as comfortable with him at right tackle as I was watching NPF, Nicholas Petit-Frere. I know he's Vrabel's guy. It's the same thing that he said about other guys that worked their butts off this offseason. Rashad Weaver was in that group too. We see the fruits of Rashad Weaver's work paying off right now, right?
Definitely.
We see it. I'm not sure if we're consistently seeing that. When he goes out to punch, he's punching with two hands. Most offensive linemen will tell you it's 1 to 2. It's not throwing yourself out there to where he lunges for the most part, man. And that, to me, has been very bothersome considering how long – now, the play action is beautiful because the run game sets it up.
Yeah.
But if you're on first down and you're doing a play action and the run game isn't necessarily there, that is a long time to protect him. That is a long liability, Will, if he can't hold up. And it's shown more times than not, he hasn't been able to hold up longer in the pass rush. I'm not saying I won't say I don't trust his technique, but it worries me a little bit. If his feet worry me a little bit, I've seen tackle feet. Sure. I didn't have tackle feet. I had college tackle feet. Okay, I didn't have those feet in the NFL to play. I moved to the inside. I think Dylan Radun's best move for his career will be on the interior line. Where and how and when, I don't know. But I don't feel comfortable with him being a right tackle right now. And also with what I've seen from MPF.
And he started that game. Nicholas Petit-Frere did.
And then moved to the left and did just as good over there, too.
615-737-1045, the number. I think we penciled in Nicholas Petit-Frere pretty quickly, perhaps as the 2023 left tackle. With a bigger chance of that happening than the 2022 right tackle. I think it's time to reevaluate that position. 615-737-1045. Let's get into this more and go into some of the negatives from this performance because the defense was good, but the offense left a lot to be desired. And did Malik Willis fit into the tightened down category, or is this a push for him? Because it's a tale of two quarters for the Tennessee Titans rookie quarterback. It's Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. More after this.
Hey, it's Schaefer. Let me tell you about my friends at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. I know it's football season. That usually indicates that it is the end of summer. Well, guess what? Those temperatures getting back up to normal, still going to be hot. That grass is still growing, and you still have to take care of your lawn. Now, you can get professional mowing quality and comfort and style with the all-new Toro Z Master 4000 HDX. That is courtesy of Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Unique MyRide suspension system, deluxe seats with armrests, keeping you comfortable hour after hour on that lawn, even over rough terrain. A powerful engine, durable deck, upgraded hydro is going to help you finish that job even faster so you can get to the football game that you want to see, the high school game, college game, pro game. It is that mower from Toro, the Toro Z Master. It's going to get the job done for you. Now, Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, they've got it all. Fertilizers, seeds, pre-emergents, herbicides. They offer professional advice and know-how to DIY your lawn and landscape care. 9 locations: Nashville, Cool Springs, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Mower, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, Franklin, and Knoxville. Coming soon to Maryville. Go where the pros go. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. And if you're not able to visit one of those locations, check them out online, dickensupply.com.
Tennessee Titans had a new starting right tackle in the mix on Saturday night on their 13-3 win over the Bucs. But what is next for the second-year pro out of North Dakota State, Dylan Radins? It's Ramona Will right here at 104.5 The Zone alongside Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. You want to see a guy perform within the context of a position battle and competition. And right now, the rookie from Ohio State is outperforming the second-year man, and it was pretty clear, not only to you who knows the film breakdown and what coaches are looking for on the offensive line, but fans are noticing too, a position that fans don't often notice.
That's the offensive line.
And that's usually not a good thing if
No.
you're getting noticed as a guy that is under the microscope right now. The Titans are relying on. Second-year pro, it's time for you to start contributing and being a big part of that offense.
And you had a bit of a red shirt year with some play last year. I thought he played well in that San Francisco game. But again, what do I always tell folks? Like, everybody loves the backup because he can do the job for one game.
Yeah.
It's a matter of consistency. It's a matter of, okay, can you actually play like this all the time? And that's what's, it's the question mark behind Dylan Radins. I asked that question in our Zone chat. If you haven't checked us out on YouTube, you can catch us at 104.5 The Zone.
Good plug.
And I just simply asked, not do you want him?
Yeah.
I said, are you comfortable with Radins at right tackle? We got a hell no. We got a no. A hell no. He's a guard at best. No. Absolutely. Like, those are the answers behind it. And the thing is this. You're going to play a very interesting schedule this year. You're going to have some rushers. Mm-hmm. You got Khalil Mack and you got one of the Bosa brothers on the Chargers, okay? You got Von Miller. You got a bunch of guys that are going to try to attack you. What did you see last week with Tampa as far as Akeem Hicks?
Akeem Hicks, Coach Dave McGinnis told us he forklifted Dylan Radins. Got picked up and moved back.
We will call that a candy bar.
Okay.
You know why?
Why's that?
Because everybody want a piece of the candy bar. Like, you would be game planning around this guy.
Yeah, and to be fair to Radins, that was the first sign of things not going according to plan this camp.
Yeah.
Radins had been good up until that point.
He had.
But you're not playing the Titans this season. You're playing other teams.
Yes, you are.
You're playing Tampa. You're playing front sevens like the one that just came in and practiced with you for 2 days and played you in Nissan Stadium on Saturday. So you wanted to see a better response from him, like you saw from Caleb Farley.
Yeah. Yes.
Caleb Farley had a not-so-great day, followed up with a really good day on Thursday, and then was good. Had some moments that are teachable, that are not great, but the Titans feel like they can rely on Caleb Farley to be a big part of this defense as it stands right now. I don't think you can say the same about your second-round pick last year as you can your first-round
No, you can't, man. And this is the thing. So I don't want to be overly hard on him, but this is a performance-based business with football, right? Fans are really embedded in this. Like, wins and losses. Coaches' careers are on the line when you're lacking at a position. To back them up also is this. Most offensive linemen need he's on year 2, but about 3 years is when you really figure out who you're going to be as Nate is a guy that's kind of coming to his own. Aaron Brewer is another guy that's kind of coming to his own as far as these young guys go like that, man. With him, I'm just not comfortable because I see him on the ground a good bit. When he shoots his hands, he shoots both of them. He did do some good things in the run game. He has a drive. He has the want to and the will. As far as, getting the job done. This is where I kind of question a little bit, though, Will. Not in the sense of the Titans, but just in general for all teams. Like, if you're going to go get offensive linemen, okay, high-round draft pick offensive linemen, do you really want to go to, Division II? To go get them? Because what's the level of competition? We're sending a rookie right now from Ohio State that played big-time ball, that played against some really good outside rushers. Now, true enough, the kid from Michigan got him a few times. Yeah. Aiden Hutchinson. He got him. Yeah. But you learn from that, though, Will. And look, I'm not saying nobody's going to get got, but the consistency in which we've seen Dylan on the ground or either a false start, and, okay, NPF had a false start also this weekend. He's not, bulletproof from any of this slander either. But just in general, the overall play I have seen at a more consistent level from NPF than I actually have seen from Dylan Radins at this point. And I know he's a Vrabel guy. It'd be interesting to see what is going to happen with him making the decision about what's best for the team, because that can be a hard decision, Will.
The reason why I think people aren't as alarmed as they would be based off of just these training camp performances is because of the way he played on Thursday Night Football against the 49ers. He's earned himself a little bit of grace, but I think if the season started right now, I think a lot more people are starting to feel more confident in Nicholas Petit-Frere. And I think the way that the Titans have missed on early round offensive linemen going back to Isaiah Wilson, who must not be named on this Titans offense, gives you a little bit more pause about that position.
It does.
Nicholas Petit-Frere looks to be a step in the right direction. And I think you mentioned this in a guy coming from Ohio State. Obviously, FCS players can be good NFL players.
Yeah, they can.
A group of 5 guys have been great NFL players.
Yep.
I think if you are talking about an immediate impact guy, I tend to lean more on the Power 5 guys, whether that is fair or unfair, and especially a blue blood Power 5 guy
at that position.
In Nicholas Petit-Frere at that position. But on top of that, to give Dylan Radins a little bit of grace here, didn't have a season going into 2020. Didn't have a season really last year outside of a couple of times coming in as that extra guy against San Francisco. So the evaluation process doesn't happen in a vacuum just when training camp starts. So Dylan Radins has time to improve upon these things and to have a good response. I think this is a really big week for him. Because coming into Tampa joint practices, he was the guy.
Yep.
He was this team's right tackle. And the context of that competition was a lot different for him. But I want to ask you this coming up over the course of the show today, and maybe we can do this in the next segment. How quickly can they move him inside? How quickly can you switch from the right side to the left side and maybe add a little bit of competition at left guard? Because Aaron Brewer was in a competition we thought with Jamarco Jones
we hadn't even mentioned
to be the starting left guard, and Aaron Brewer ran away with that pretty immediately.
Yeah, he did.
So let's get into that coming up at the start of hour 2. Plus, Mike Vrabel had some interesting comments about Caleb Farley that I want to play for you. A thoughtful answer about implementing a rookie into the team. And I say rookie. Caleb Farley is a second-year guy. His experience, though, was slowed down a bit by the injury last year. I thought this was an interesting answer. We'll do that next. It's Ramon and Will right here at 104.5 The Zone.
There's one thing that really makes Genesis Diamonds stand out from any other jewelry store, and it's the education you get. Yes, what do you mean, Ramon? What's the education? These are not clerks behind the counter. These are seasoned pros. They know everything there is to know about diamonds. They will teach you in a way that is transparent, informative, and useful. They'll even teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. Yes, if you did not know, the dealer gets a great deal, and that's what they're trying to teach you. This is done in a relaxed, no pressure, and no expectation kind of atmosphere. They know that most guys don't know much about diamonds, and we don't. So they're committed to teaching you, not selling you. Genesis will give you access to one of the largest selections of GIA certified diamonds in America. They will let you see 10, 15, 20, 30 diamonds in your price range side by side so you can make an intelligent decision. They will work with your budget, and they will respect your budget also. If you're diamond shopping, this is the place to go. The education you want, the selection you need, the price you deserve. Zero risk, zero pressure. Genesis Diamond, Green Hills, and in Cool Springs. Go visit my folks at Genesis Diamonds.
7:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans hit the practice field at 1:30 this afternoon as they prepare for more joint practices, this time with the Arizona Cardinals. The Titans defeated the Bucs 13-3 this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. Malik Willis, 7 of 17, 80 yards, and this touchdown.
Willis looks left, looks to the right, comes back, fires. Touchdown! Titans! Chig Akakwo! The two Atlanta natives who knew each other in high school hook up for a big 6.
That was the only touchdown of the game. Titans wide receiver Kyle Phillips joins Ramon and Will at 8:30 this morning. Astros beat the Braves 5-4. Meanwhile, the Mets defeated the Phillies 10-9. New York, a 4-game lead over the Braves in the NL East. Nashville SC blasted FC Dallas 4-0 at Geodis Park, and it could have been worse. For the boys in gold, the win snapped their 6-game winless streak. And Nolensville, undefeated so far in Little League World Series play, faces Hagerstown, Indiana at 2 o'clock this afternoon. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
One hour down, 3 more to go here on this Monday edition. The Titans beat the Bucs, and we talk with Dr. Kevin Dyson coming up in 15 minutes. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, hanging out with you today. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope your Monday morning is off to a good start. 615-737-1045 is the number. Talking Titans offensive line, and Caleb Farley, a subject of discussion yesterday at Mike Vrabel's post-game press conference. We'll get to that coming up in a minute. But first, we go to the phones, Ramon. Talking Dylan Radins. I like the analytical offensive line analysis we're getting here
it's
before 7 a.m.
thought,
on a Monday. It is.
That's why I'm adamant about the youth being able to learn the position well, because guys get to college in a higher level. Even now so much in college, they just teach them their offense. They're not teaching them the proper technique for the next level, too. And that's where this detriment is it really shows its ugly head. That's why you have guys like Dwayne Brown that continue to get signed when they're almost 40 years old. And, yes, he can still play, but there's a lot of guys that stick around because these younger guys coming out don't necessarily get taught the proper technique early on, man. So now we're in a position, like you said, Isaiah Wilson's situation kind of fluttered out a little bit, and
a little bit.
Now we're looking for a right tackle, considering Quisenberry's not here either right now. So, and you got two young guys, MPF and Dylan Radins, that are fighting for this position, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this kind of pans itself out. MPF, if you're asking me, I think is ahead. But, of course, Radins gets the first stab at it because he crushed it this offseason with Vrabel. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I think that's fair to kind of give him the first stab. Whenever they announce these starters soon, and it should be soon, we want to see how it kind of shakes out.
Absolutely. 615-737-1045 is the number. We go back to the phones where Goody wants to chime in on Dylan Radins. Good morning, Goody.
Morning, Goody.
What's up, guys?
Not much.
Not much.
The biggest question I have is, let's say MPF ends up winning the right tackle battle. You don't trust Radins as a tackle. You move him inside. Who's your swing tackle?
Yeah.
Then then you end up with hoping to pick one off waivers. Because Jones can play right tackle, but he can't play left.
I would imagine Christian
what do you do?
DeLauro might be that guy. In-house right now if it's in the building.
See, this is what I would tell you, though, too. Like, guys that play that swing position, and you stay on the list if you want to, is they don't have to be full-time starters. They have to be serviceable enough to get guys through. Like, you can game plan around a guy to help him get through games, i.e. the 49ers game, right? The tight ends were heavy on his side until they decided to move over to the other side, and he had a good game when Dylan Radins played. Like, it's deeper than what you see as far as, okay, swing tackle. Yes, he can still be the swing tackle. in a spot, in a pinch, man. And I'll say this too. If NPF does win this position, there are going to be some growing pains. But as far as where I see NPF right now, as opposed to where I see Dylan Radins, I feel more comfortable with the technique, the level of play, and just even in this preseason, the level of consistency that he's had. So that's where I'm at with it. Dylan Radins can still be the swing tackle and still, play a huge role for this team.
Okay. Hey, I was just kind of curious, you know, because then the roster kind of breaks differently. I would think.
Yeah.
So I just thought to bring it up.
Oh, no doubt.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Bleep Jonathan Schaefer. That's all I got.
Thank you, Goody. Appreciate the call. Wow.
I don't know.
Good morning, Shave. Hadn't even said a word yet in an hour or two. Just already taking a stray. That wasn't even a stray. That was just a bullet.
Oh, that was a long time coming.
Good.
And you know what's going to be coming up later?
What?
Bleep you, Will Bowling.
Oh, lovely. You sound like every girl I've ever dated. Just angry at me at the end. Anyway, 615-737-1045.
Well, if you're going to say that, I mean, there's really only one thing that I can do.
What's that?
It won't play now.
That is a demerit.
Thank you. That's a demerit for you, not for me.
Hey, yeah, it's a demerit for me. You don't need to talk about it. So demerit for you. Shut up.
You're new here. I had to learn that when I quote that, I promise I'm not just that self-deprecating. I'm quoting my favorite comedian, Mike Birbiglia.
Okay.
Who is my favorite, Two Drink Mike, his comedy special that he had, came out when I was in like 8th grade.
Okay.
Oh, it's so funny.
All right.
Because like every girl I've ever dated.
I was starting to get worried, Will. So Ron and I had a whole counseling session for you one day. It's like, you can't live life like this, Will. Like,
listen, man, this is a 4-hour counseling session every single morning. I don't know what you think, what else you think this possibly is. 615-737-1045. Look, and I don't want to be fair to the conversation and to Dylan Radins and to the offensive line. He did do a good job when he was put in there in the fire against San Francisco.
Yes.
And I think that Titans fans and we as people that talk into microphones and do this job can't just see the preseason evaluation process within a vacuum. Because if it was, Logan Woodside wouldn't still be here, right? The reason why fans keep asking, why in the world is Logan Woodside still on the team? Well, because he knows the offense more than 4 or 5 other backup quarterback candidates have at this point.
Facts.
But now he's finally battling with someone who could actually be a starting quarterback in this league, despite the fact that he isn't right now, right? So that changes that evaluation process. But for Dylan Radins, it's not just the body of work that he's put on film this year, which is an important part of the conversation. And having a good offseason, having good OTAs, having a good training camp until this past week. So as quickly as it just turned sour for him this past week against Tampa, it can turn the other direction just as quickly against Arizona.
You go from drinking wine to squashing grapes, man.
Haven't heard that one before.
You haven't? Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's just that simple in this league. Like, it is a level of consistency, man. Our all-world producer, man, put in a clip from John Glennon. Glennon on Sports is where you find him on Twitter. You got it in the Slack right there in the random if you want to read that off, Will.
Okay.
It's in the Slack, man. This is very telling about what I think is important in this line of NFL work, man. So, very comparable on one and a long shot on another, man. As our Ethan Rose has just come in, man. Shout out to Q, man.
Let's go. The best, man.
Yes.
That's my favorite coffee shop in Nashville. I'm not just saying that because it's sitting right in front of me.
You
that
mentioned that before you actually knew it the other day.
Yeah,
why, and tell them, why is that the case when it comes to the what do you call it, the house blend?
So I hate going to coffee shops and like lattes, like craft stuff, like signature, like latte stuff. Like I get when that's like $5-6, right? Like you go to a nice coffee shop, you expect to pay like $5-6 for like a nice latte that's got like flavor to it. But then places like that, you get like a cup of drip house coffee, and it's still like $4, $4.50.
Yeah.
Way
too expensive.
Eighth and Rose is $2.50.
See?
And it's good house coffee too. Really good.
You dropped that other day. I was like,
shout out Eighth and Rose. You're like, I know my audience.
Yeah, there we go. Plus, it's the morning crew too.
That's
Gotta
right.
have that coffee.
But you're right. At Glennon Sports on Twitter is where you can find this analysis from our buddy John Glennon comparing Pro Football Focus grades for Nicholas Petit-Frere and Dylan Radins versus Tampa Bay. Run block, pretty even.
Yep.
Radin's actually a little bit better, 55.8 compared to Petit Frere, 52.9. The pass blocking.
Yeesh.
Petit Frere, 74.3. That's
really
acceptable.
Good. I
for
think
a rookie
that's very
third-round
good.
pick,
Yes.
that's great. Dylan Radin, 17.8.
Even if you don't respect the algorithm, you got to respect what the grade actually is.
With something that low. And look, I'm not a huge Pro Football Focus guy.
Thank you, my brother.
But, yeah, I actually.
But shout out to them.
we have Steve Palazzolo on tomorrow.
Oh, love it.
No, we don't. I just did that to mess with you.
Semi-pro Football Focus. So the overall grade. They're not professional. They're semi-professional football focus. Semi kind
You've
of
been here for
focused.
5 minutes. Be careful.
Pro football kind of focused. Petit Frere with an overall grade of, I'm just totally unfair. Petit Frere with a overall grade of 54.3, which is not great.
Nope.
It's not great. It's actually bad.
Yeah, if he can get.
But Radin's 27.4. That's honestly, respectfully, that's one of the lower ones I've seen.
Yeah.
It's a small sample size. Didn't play the whole game.
Yeah.
Every mistake is even more magnified when you're only in there for about a half.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs to get better. It needs to get better right now.
Yeah.
For him.
It does, because even if for anything, Will, that's one thing about PFF, and I love for them to be more accurate or give up their methods of grading. But this right here, even if you're not a fan of PFF, the public perception of what this looks like, though, doesn't justify.
When it's that low.
And then
perception's reality.
It was obvious, too, whenever we were watching the tape. Like, I was showing you stuff that was happening. I was like, ooh, we had our guy, what's his name, McKenzie, early on in the game, tripped up Aaron Brewer. I was like, no, that's not an Aaron Brewer issue right there. That was on the young guy, because Taylor came out for a play or two, man.
Right. Yeah, he did.
And the young rookie, I'm going to give you his last name and his first name in a second.
It's Reggie McKenzie's
son. Jalen McKenzie.
Jalen McKenzie.
Came in like hot into the game and had a couple of bad plays. Like, young fella, you're always ready. I don't care. Like, that's the way you got to run that room. And I know Taylor them run their room that way. Is there's a standard, and you can't come in and have Malik flush out of the pocket. On that same play, though, NPF ended up having a pancake on the pass pro block.
Really good.
He had that's what we're looking for, right?
And he does show flashes of there's breakdowns, there's penalties, but when it's good, it's really good for him.
Yeah.
From an offensive line standpoint, it's similar to when Malik Willis puts his foot in the ground and fires a bullet.
Yeah.
When it's good, it's good.
When it's good,
and you
it's
can
good.
see
Yep.
the ceiling.
I agree.
615-737-1045 is the number. Coming up next, though, we talk with Kevin Dyson, my teammate on Titans Talkback on 104.5 The Zone, post-game after Titans radio every single week. Want to get his perspective specifically on the receivers and get his opinion on a guy that we're going to talk to at 8:30, and Kyle Phillips. From one legendary Titans return man to another.
Hey, now.
It's Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Kevin Dyson coming up next.
We had it happen again over the weekend. We had some of those severe storms move through the area. Happened early in the afternoon on Saturday before the Titans game. Had some thunder, some lightning, and as always, anytime that happens, you run the risk of losing your power, and you don't know when it's going to come back on for you. Well, one thing is a guarantee if you go through Lee Company and you get a home generator through them. First of all, you're going to have power. In that case, you don't want the food to spoil in the fridge. You want everybody to feel safe. You want to get back to being comfortable as soon as possible. Right now, Lee Company, $500 off a new home generator, or they've got special financing available for you to get to that home generator. Stay safe and secure when the power goes out. Get a new home generator from Lee Company. Again, $500 off a new home generator or special financing available to you. Lee Company, 615-567-1000, 567-1000, or leecompany.com/promotions to find out more. Lee Company, all you need.
Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Titans get the win. You were just waiting to drop that one in. Titans get the win 13-3 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday night. And late night, Kevin Dyson and I were burning the midnight oil, taking calls. We took calls from 4 different states on Saturday night. Humble brag for me. And had a good time talking Titans. We're going to continue doing that right now. Kevin Dyson joins us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Dyson, have you caught up on your sleep after our late night Saturday?
Barely.
Man, these primetime preseason games are giving us some late nights, aren't they?
Oh, man. And sometimes it gets to be brutal there at the end, too. You're just trying to maintain and find some content to talk about because ultimately we want to know about 4 things: quarterback, tackle, and so on, some of the other depth chart battles that we got going. Punter now, which I learned the other night, that's the true battle.
That's right.
So it makes for an interesting evening if you're talking about being up late for a preseason game.
So you said something really interesting last week that I want to bring back up, talking about when you were playing, preseason was more about preparation, and now it's more about an audition. Mm-hmm. In the audition on Saturday night, who impressed you in a positive way? Who did you notice maybe in a negative way, just kind of right off the bat as you take a look back at Saturday night?
Well, I don't know if it's a negative way. I just don't think Dylan Radons is taking the steps forward as you would expect from year 1 to year 2 to kind of take the position and say, you know what, this is my job and you're gonna have to take it from me. So I don't know if that's necessarily somebody that is terrible, but that's just something that's just concerning because you want your second round pick to kind of say, especially after year 1, to kind of say this is my job. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm going to go with a group of people for this other part for us that's being impressive. I think that backups part of that defense, linebackers and secondary, it gives you a lot of confidence going into the regular season that you got some added depth, some added guys that if somebody goes down, you're not going to have a big drop-off. You're going to have guys that come in, contribute, that are effective and make plays on defense. And we're seeing these guys make plays on special teams as well. And that's going to bode well for the season because that's the aspect of the game that doesn't get a whole lot of conversation, especially in the preseason. But it's been something that's evident. A lot of these guys are getting 2 and 3 tackles on special teams on top of 2 or 3 tackles in the defensive calls and things of that nature. So that, to me, is probably – as a group, the linebackers, the edge rushers, and the secondary guys, they have shown to be pretty good in this preseason so far.
Kev, good morning, man. Dr. Kevin Dyson,
good morning.
Man.
Where's Bone?
I got a question for you, man, from your position, and I just got to simply ask, Vrabel acknowledged it. It's hard to evaluate, let's say, Traylon Burks whenever the quarterback is not having the day that you want him to, but you can't judge that. As far as, let's go to the young you, not the sophisticated, mature you now. When it came to you not getting those touches, you not being able to get the ball directly at the beginning of the game, how did you actually process that for a young guy like, Traylon Burks or even Kyle Phillips?
Man, we can spend a whole show talking about this because, there's an added pressure. He's replacing a guy that was very popular in the community, popular in the locker room, who was very productive. And so that eat at you. That's something that you're sitting there thinking about. Like, I want to show you I'm worth that pick. I can be a good wide receiver in the National Football League. Just give me an opportunity. And, sometimes in the National Football League, opportunities come far few between. But when you get it, you have to make the most of it, and that's when he gets our team going to have to. And I think if you're talking from an evaluation standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, well, they're relying on tape from practice. How was he against the 1s and 2s for the Buccaneers secondary and soon to be Arizona Cardinals secondary in practice? Did he compete? Did he make plays? Was he getting his right assignments? Was he making adjustments as he needed to? Was he blocking? Was the effort downfield? Was he in guys' way? some of those things they're evaluating on a day-to-day basis, not necessarily worried about game. But I know from a player standpoint, you want to be able to prove your worth on the field when the lights are on. And right now, I think he's had, 4 attempts, 1 catch towards his direction in the first 2 preseason games. And I think the fans included would love to see what the investment is. Let's see what he can do with the lights are on.
And that's the point where I'm at with him. You know, if you're not getting those touches that you want, as far as Traylon, because like you said, you know that pressure. You feel that pressure of like, man, I want to prove myself. What can't he do, Kev, moving forward as far as when the season starts and he gets with Tannehill? Because you'll try to overcompensate sometimes at that position when you got the ball in your hand. What can he do moving forward?
One thing I don't want him to see try to press and think he has to make every play. You want to make every play, and you should make every play. But when you try to make every play, that's when you don't make the play. You got to be able to relax and play your game. If you're thinking it's gonna turn out to the negative, And then you see somebody like Kyle Phillips. He's getting a lot of press.
Yeah,
he had an impressive showing again, and he's the draft pick a couple rounds after you, and he's kind of the darling right now. You got to overlook that kind of stuff and stay within yourself and play your game and utilize your skill set. You just hope, in this day and age of putting the ball up in the air and utilizing guys' strengths and things of that nature, and also putting guys in position to be successful. You just hope they say, okay, this is his skill set. Let's put him in these particular skills, this plays, these formations, and just utilize his skills because he has talent. Obviously, you got to be a talented guy going into the first round. And so with him, it's just about getting him comfortable within the scheme and put him in position to be successful. And they got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of guys that are stepping up at the receiver position. That could be good and bad. That could take some of the pressure off. You don't feel like you have to make every play, but it also could be bad because you're not getting the reps that you would want, and you don't get to show your skill set as much and as often as maybe the guy that got drafted a couple picks after you or even 1 or 2 before you.
Right.
Kevin Dyson with us here on 104.5 The Zone. Talking about Kyle Phillips, wide receivers coach Rob Moore has given him the nickname The Professor, saying that he's a know-it-all. He knows everything. He knows what to do. How much studying do you have to do as a rookie in that first camp? Take us through that process. What kind of film are you looking at? What are you trying, in that position to focus on the most in order to understand how to make as big an impact as you can as a rookie?
Well, I think first and foremost, at least for myself, there's no trade-off like experience. And what I mean by that is I learned running the plays on the field. Don't get me wrong, I spent a lot of time in that book, a lot of time, note cards, redrawing plays, diagramming them, doing every position, make sure I knew I'm tight end, running back. I try to make sure I knew the whole play in totality just because you just never know by formation and game. You might be at the number 3 spot. One time you might be at the number 1 spot, but you're still playing X or Z. It just depends. So you need to know the play in totality and what the play expectation is. And so you got to draw all that up. And so that can be, especially in the pace that they're doing it now, because they condensed the preseason, they condensed training camp. You got to get your studies on now. A lot of guys are visual. They can watch it on film and say, okay, I should have did this, I should have did that. But I was a field guy. I like to be on the field and learning that way, hands-on, and getting that experience. So it depends on their mindset. But the professor, as you just they've been Don, he's been Don. He's got a little knack. I think in this day and age of throwing the ball in the air, you need those, I say specialty receivers. I don't mean that because he's multi-talented, but guys that have a skill set that you can highlight and emphasize. And he's got a good change of direction. He's going to be what I call a chain mover. He's going to be that guy. His yards per catch might not be great, but his impact could be. He's going to be able to, 3rd and 7, you put him on a double move or an option route or something to that effect, and he catches it and he gets the first down. And that is a skill set that he is portraying right now. And then he's shown that he's had the capacity to return punts. And that can help you stay in this league for a long time if you have that ability to. You average 20 or something, 25 yards
return the other night?
Yeah,
25 and a half.
Down. Yeah, that's 2.5 first downs. That's huge in this game of time of possession and field position. That is huge to be able to flip the field like that.
As it comes down to the other side of the ball, the cornerbacks, as you said, like I thought the first game a little bit messy as far as open field tackles and stuff like that. They pretty much cleaned it up for the most part, man. And also seeing, Caleb Farley kind of bounce back. It's not clean exactly as you want it to be. But what all did you see from him or anybody else that was out there? It was like, okay, this could be a good building block for the rest of this secondary, as you said kind of earlier.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. It's about the bounce back, right, Ron? It's what can I do to get better that next week? You have to bounce back. Now, if he was struggle again this week, now you're like, okay, this kid's not getting, or you have concerns. It's about his growth and getting better, learning from your mistakes. He mentioned it in one of his interviews of watching film and recognize where he was at, recognize his foot placement, recognize his hips, where his eye placement was with the DB, with the receiver, and how he was watching quarterback and things of that nature. So he's watching himself, he's evaluating himself, and then he's taking that out and being able to process that and get better. And as long as he's projecting that and getting better each week, I think he's going to be all right. It's just how soon can he get there, and will they be able to have time? Will they be able to take the time to let him go through some of these growing pains he is? Because you got to realize he still don't have a whole lot of experience, not alone in the National Football League, but in the position in itself. So he's a talented guy that still needs some room to grow, and he's showing that he has that want to grow, and that to me goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little ball here too, man. It's, I've had this conversation with numerous folks as far as what's the projection for this season. We had a call in earlier. We were trying to say, who tightened up this past weekend and who tightened down, man, as far as who played up and who played down. And we had somebody bring up Todd Downing in the play calling. It's just like, okay, well, it wasn't too high, it wasn't too low. Where are you at this year as far as expectations from him, from the coaching staff? Because we can talk players all year long, but the coaches do play a part as far as setting people up, setting the players up, and so on throughout the season. Where are you with the expectation for Todd Downing this year without A.J. Brown and Derek coming off the injury?
Man, that's a great question. So, last year, specifically in the playoffs, I felt like they tried to go back to the playbook that was working week 4, week 5 with Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. And now it's in playoff mode and things of nature. And it got a little comfortable. And having guards that hadn't called plays at that level, but being a play caller, you can get comfortable with some plays. You've had some success. The players are familiar with it, and you can get comfortable making certain calls. And then when you have a back like Derrick Henry, it's hard not to get comfortable calling certain plays because a lot of times he can bail out a bad call because of his ability. And so sometimes you can get relying on that out. And I think, again, we talk about growth from Caleb, it's the same thing for Todd. Then it's a growth and maturation, getting to know your roster a little bit, understanding the skill sets of each individuals and how to utilize them to the best of their advantage to get the matchups you want on the other side of the field. And that's why I talk about somebody like a Kyle Phillips and Robert Woods and utilize some of these guys that got good twitch muscles, good change of direction, and how to utilize their skill sets. And you don't have to be the vertical threat that A.J. Brown was or the run-after-catch threat that A.J. Brown was, but you still be effective offense. And they don't have to. You can't just rely on Derrick Henry every game. Now, we would like to believe that, he's going to go out there and get 2,000 yards. But if I'm the other 31 teams in the NFL, that's the first person I'm going in every week trying to focus on. I'm going to make somebody else beat me. And if that's the case, got to develop a lot of talent around you, get rapport with the receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends, and including the running backs in that passing game. And then we'll see how this offense progresses as the season moves along. But if it's starting to struggle and the running game is struggling and they can't get anything off in the passing game, now you're going to start hearing some of them bluebirds and some of the doubt coming in and things of that nature.
Arizona Cardinals coming to town. Kevin Dyson with us here, 104.5 The Zone. Last one for me. We talked about the open field tackling from some of the reserve defenders. We wanted that to be better from Baltimore to Tampa. What is one specific area where you want to see this team improve from their performance on Saturday this upcoming weekend against Arizona?
Oh, I don't know if there's one thing. Again, you just want to see guys competing in the secondary, being around the football, being active, hands, getting tip balls similar to they did last week. Again, adding pressure from a defensive standpoint, continue to apply pressure, getting after the quarterback, tackles for loss, being very active there. On the offensive side of the ball, I want Petit Frere or Radens to say this is my job, and everybody feel confident in that. I don't know if anybody feels confident. Obviously, the team doesn't because they're rotating them. That feel confident that this guy is the guy, and so that is another thing. Just kind of keep an eye on this weekend, really this week, because you got a pretty good front seven coming in town all week to compete against, and those are kind of the main things. And then what's the progression for Malik Willis? Obviously, we ain't even talked about him in this segment, but what's the progression for him? From week 1 to week 2, now going into week 3 in the preseason and getting reps, another style of defense, if you will. How does he progress? Is he still hesitant to make some throws? How's the accuracy? Is it improving? We know he has the ability to extend plays. We know he has the ability to extend drives with his legs. Now let's try to see that next progression, that next level, and is it enough? And then lastly, what are they going to do with the punter? I can't believe that's even part of the conversation. I think Kern is one of those veterans. It's hard to replace. He understands the game, situational football. He can place it where you want it. But the fact that that's a conversation, you have to talk about it. So see how that progresses this weekend as well.
Just to satisfy the urge from the fan base and everybody else, man, I know 22 won't. But do you have to see a quarter or a little bit of Ryan Tannehill this week before the season kicks off?
From a fan perspective, they would love that. They would. From a personnel, administrative, coaches, nah.
Okay.
You know what you're getting.
Okay.
I think they still get hesitant, if you will, on Malik, just based on the commentary coming from the locker room, from the coaching staff. There's still some things they would love to evaluate and see what they got in Malik Willis and see and go from there. But Tannehill's, I don't believe he'll play. Okay. And if he does, hopefully get a few throws in and get in, get out. But I think ultimately they're still trying to evaluate what they want to do with number 2 and number 3.
Wow.
And then 5 and 6 receivers, 3 or 4 tight ends, and 3, 4 running backs. And then after that, it's kind of going to determine what you do with those quarterback positions because, as I mentioned, in each of those are valuable special teams spots as well. And you need those guys to get for possessions and things of that nature. So I don't think from a personnel, administrative, coaching aspect that we will see Tannehill. But as a fan, I would love to see him get out there and get some reps with some guys.
That's fair.
Kevin Dyson has been our guest here on 104.5 The Zone at KT Dyson87 on Twitter. Dr. Dyson, I will see you Saturday night for another Titans Talkback. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll see you. Have a good one now.
Appreciate it, Cal.
All right, there is Dr. Kevin Dyson. Make sure to check out 3 The Pro Way as well. New episode coming out in about 20 minutes.
I'm a little hot. They hadn't even invited me on the show
Have
yet.
they not?
I'm gonna be real. I ain't got a text, nothing yet, man. That's all good.
You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
I know. Yeah, I got a little bit of the blueberries.
What's butthurt?
This is my whiny voice right now.
Whiny voice. Coming up next, Mike Vrabel yesterday, speaking with the media, had an insightful answer about Caleb Farley and one area of his game that might be holding him back a little bit. We both were talking about this yesterday and thought this was a really interesting and unique perspective that Mike Vrabel gave the fans yesterday. We'll play you that audio, give our reaction coming up next. Kyle Phillips at 8:30, Kayla Anderson at 9:20. Fun's just getting started. We got a lot more still to come right here on 104.5 The Zone.
There are so many reasons to custom order your Ford from Two Rivers Ford. Number one is that you know you're going to get the best price in town. Two Rivers Ford has always sold below MSRP, and they have continued to do this with the supply chain issues, too. At Two Rivers Ford, they've always believed in giving their customers a great, honest upfront price, which is probably why Two Rivers Ford is now selling to the grandkids and great-grandkids of some of their original customers. The next reason is they have non-commissioned salespeople. What does this mean, Mo? Well, I'm going to tell you what this means. At Two Rivers Ford, their salespeople are there to help you, not pressure you, okay? So you can call them, text them, go out and kick all the tires on the parking lot if you want to. You can spend as much time you want researching your vehicle. The Two Rivers Ford team salespeople are paid to make sure you have a great experience. And finally, Two Rivers Ford is locally owned. They've been around since 1983, and they take a lot of pride in being part of this community. And if you're like me, you want to purchase from a local business that you know is going to be around to take care of you after the sale. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They've won Ford President's Award for customer satisfaction more times than I can count. And honestly, they're just great people. So give my friends at Two Rivers Ford a call, toll free 800-900-1000, or stop by and see them in Mount Juliet, just east of the airport, and online at tworiversford.com. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
It is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Appreciate Kevin Dyson giving us a couple of minutes. Check out 3 The Pro Way wherever you listen to podcasts, sports, business, so much more with Joey Kent, with Kevin Dyson, with Todd Campbell. Good conversations there every single Monday. New episodes at 8 a.m. here in Nashville. Mike Vrabel had a really interesting answer yesterday, and he was asked about Caleb Farley getting more snaps than Roger McCreary. And ESPN's Teron Davenport asked him that question and asked him why. Vrabel was kind of spicy and said, that's because that's what we decided to do. And then asked again, you'd think the rookie would be the one you would need to get more reps. Why Caleb? And then didn't answer again. And then he offered this answer, which was pretty thoughtful and insightful, and it's like he finally just gave in and let us know a little bit of insight into the way Caleb Farley's development is coming along. Listen to this.
We talk about Caleb's emotions. He's just so excited to be out there. He hasn't really played a whole lot of football, and I noticed early on against the practices in Tampa, he was pretty emotionally spent, which then caused him to be physically spent. It was just just trying to get him to focus on his emotions and keeping them pretty neutral so that he can have as much energy for each and every play and to withstand the length of the game, the heat, the conditions that they have. Corner, you got to run. And so that's just another opportunity for him to get some conditioning. And, it was good to see him have a couple good back-to-back days.
I think that's interesting. And I think anybody who has done a good amount of physical therapy and has rehabbed major injuries, especially back-to-back, there's a certain excitement level about getting out there and doing the job that you're paid to do that you enjoy a whole lot more than physical therapy, because I don't think the average fan understands how tough that stuff is.
I hated it.
Oh, it's...
oh my God.
It's harder than practice.
Oh my, there's
in a lot of ways.
Nothing worse than I'm talking about Reese. So he's right about that. He needs to be out there. That's why I think on that first day against Tampa, he was pacing himself more or less than, actually slacking off more than anything. So Vrabel made up a real good point, though, too. Like, young guys get over the top excited about competition, which is a good thing. But look at pros and the way pros interview. Look at the way they talk about stuff.
Pace yourself.
You don't get excited, about what you're going to do. Like him being uncertain about how to play, what to do on certain plays, like it shows. And that's what Vrabel is saying. Like, hey, simmer down. Simmer down. That's basically what he's telling them.
Rein it in just a little bit.
Yeah, because think about when you're excited to go on a trip somewhere, or you about to go like party, like it's like a pregame before you go out kicking it. Like, dude, you better slow down. It's that one friend in the group is like, he gonna crash in about an hour.
Yeah, it's like it's only 8 p.m. Let's
that's basically
easy Seabiscuit.
That's what Vrabel's telling them. Like,
that's
dog,
right.
We hadn't even left the house yet. Drink some water. Stop talking and sit down for a little. That's what he's telling them, man, because you think about this. We said this last week, leaving the show. We were amped up about doing the show. And what did you say? Man, I'm tired.
I know.
Like, that's a part of it, man. Like, most pros, look at the way they talk and carry themselves. They're not doing the hot take. Oh, we're about to. No. It's cool. Let's play the game. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm geeked about it, but it's not necessarily the end of the line for me before the game starts.
So I think this is always interesting. I think about this for any sport, any athlete. I think this is relevant. I had a coach in high school here locally in Nashville when I ran track and cross country who would tell us going into the first race of every year, he would say, guys, you only have a certain amount of emotional energy that you can budget over the course of an entire season. Take pride in your work. Take pride in competing at the same level every day. But just know, don't budget a championship amount of energy for preseason, for game one, right? You've got to sustain that throughout the entire season because, as you said, it's never as good as you think. It's rarely as bad as you think once you get on film. So being a little bit more even and reining that in a little bit, I think, is an important conversation point for Caleb Farley at this point, because we talked to that guy coming off the field at training camp on the Buck Rising show a few weeks ago, and you could just tell, man. You could really tell just how thrilled he was to be healthy, to be on the field, to be playing so much, to be learning this defense. And I think that it is important for you to sustain that level of energy throughout all of camp. Right?
Yeah.
Bounced back really well, and I think it's important. But I think kind of that word for my coach and things like that. It applies to every level of sports and every sport that you only have a certain amount of emotional energy for a season.
My old coach used to say, and this is a good thing for Caleb Farley. I'd rather say whoa than sick him.
Yeah.
Like, I can pull you back.
Oh, absolutely.
If you ain't got no dog and no will to actually get the job done, then we were fighting the wrong battle. I can put you on the leash, but if I got to make you bite, nah, we're going shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to find somebody else. So that's a good place to be for the young Caleb Farley.
615-737-1045 is the number. Halftime of the show.
Yeah.
Halfway through, 2 hours down and 2 more to go. And coming up next, we're going to start kind of getting ready for our conversation with Titans rookie wide receiver Kyle Phillips. I mentioned this to you in the break, Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
There's one stat about Kyle Phillips from college that I think is really good news for Titans fans and shows the level of consistency that he had in the Pac-12 for UCLA. Halftime of the show, 2 hours down and 2 more to go. It's Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
It is 8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans hit the practice field at 1:30 this afternoon. Blaine and Mickey will be out there at St. Thomas Sports Park. Titans preparing for more joint practices this week, this time with the aforementioned Arizona Cardinals. Titans defeated the Bucs 13-3 this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. Malik Willis went 7 of 17 for 80 yards and this touchdown.
Willis looks left, looks to the right, comes back, fires. Touchdown! Titans! Chig Akakwo! The two Atlanta natives who knew each other in high school hook up for a big 6.
Titans wide receiver Kyle Phillips joins Ramon and Will at 8:30 this morning. Astros beat the Braves 5-4 yesterday. Meanwhile, Mets over the Phillies 10-9. New York a 4-game lead over the Braves in the NL East. Nashville SC blasted FC Dallas 4-0 at Geodis Park last night for the boys in gold. The win snapped their 6-game winless streak. And Nolensville, undefeated so far in Little League World Series play, faces Hagerstown, Indiana today at 2 o'clock. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your own with the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Two hours down and 2 more to go. We get better in the second half on this show. It's Ramon and Will, brought to you by All Four Seasons right here on 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling, VFL Ramon Foster sitting to my left. Jonathan Schaefer pushing all the right buttons across the glass. 615-737-1045 if you want to join us. Kyle Phillips coming up here in 30 minutes. And looking forward to talking with the rookie that has had the biggest impact of any of the class of 2022 at Titans training camp so far.
He has, man. I wonder what that pressure's like, too. Is nothing cooler, Will? Just nothing cooler, man. There's some cool stuff out there. But this, like fulfilling your dream, chasing it, to know at some point, I know I'm making this team.
Yeah.
You know, like, what was it, 6th-rounder?
Kyle Phillips was, you put me on the spot here.
I know,
I believe, I think he was 5th, wasn't he?
I thought it was 6th. Either way, you want to make a bet? Huh?
Sure.
Yeah. I say 6.
He was a 5th round pick.
I don't know what we bet.
Got him.
Got me.
Yeah, I don't know. I should have put more on there. $1 million.
Hey, now. But as a 5th round, I think the guaranteed spots coming into your rookie year are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round, maybe a 4th. Mm-hmm. I've seen 4th rounders get cut. I've seen 3rd rounders get cut too. It's a matter of performance. We speak about this all the time, man. That's why fans are so hard. That's why it's so much of a business too. But to know that you've made the team, and I really didn't realize it, Will, until like the last cut. Like I knew I played well enough, and they put me in position to see me do certain things, and that's what. That's the journey that Kyle Phillips is going through right now. So I don't want to tell him that, but I'm sure the vets are probably pulling on, hey, young fella, keep doing your thing. You know, that's pretty much what the vets are telling him at this point. Hey, keep doing that and you're going to be all right, because you never want to say, hey, you are locked for this team. But as Vrabel said the other day with him, it's like it's his starting spot until somebody else do something cooler.
Yeah, it is.
All right, that's some good stuff, man. For a guy that's a 5th-round draft pick that – you know, you had a guy at your position drafted in the 1st.
Right.
And you're the guy that they're talking about. Pretty cool.
615-737-1045. I think the pace with which Kyle Phillips had to play in offense at UCLA is noteworthy here. And you made this point talking to Kevin Dyson, and before that, too, that too many college programs are teaching their players not as much technique, but technique that they require just for that offense. Not a holistic approach to make you a better football player, but just an approach that helps that college team win games in a college system that might not translate to the NFL. Talking about Kyle Phillips playing for Chip Kelly, that offense is moving quickly.
Yeah, it is.
And you can have the same conversation about Tennessee and not just the quarterbacks having to make quick decisions and knowing their role so well that they can 6 seconds after a play is over get right back at the line of scrimmage and know exactly what they're doing. I want to ask Kyle just how that tempo helps prepare him for studying at a faster pace in the NFL.
That's actually a really good question right there. I didn't think about that because, like you said, we speak about that, Will, but wide receivers in NFL have to know, like, okay, if he's playing inside, I cut out. If he's dropping back, I pull back on the comeback. Like, or if he's flat-footed, I keep going. Like, there are adjustments you have to see and know. Like, a route has like different options on it depending on what the defense is doing,
especially in the slot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I asked the receivers, that's one thing I personally never dove deeper into, Will, is okay, what are the actual options? That's something we could have asked, Dr. Kevin Dyson when we had him on. I might have to just hit him up. It's like, hey, what determines the options? Like, take us to school for a little bit, you know, because that matters too, because if you're not smart enough to process what's coming out as far as the play, an ongoing play, you're no good on the field. So that's pretty sweet.
There's one stat for Kyle Phillips' career at UCLA that I think bodes well for his future as a Titan. I couldn't believe this reading this last night. At UCLA, Kyle Phillips, Ramon, had a reception in each of his last 29 games that he played in. He had 35 catches in his last 5 games last season at UCLA. 29 consecutive games with a reception is a remarkable amount of consistency.
Got a knack for the ball.
That's right.
And it says a lot about the trust factor too. Like, you don't get that, or let's say this too. You have a talent to get open. You can say, oh, they just scheme it up. No, you say that, but guys will press you. Guys will get you, at the line of scrimmage, and he's a guy that clearly finds a way to get open. Let's be real, whether they're dismissing him like, oh yeah, whatever. But he's still getting the ball and making the catches and being an asset to his team more than just another body on the field. That says a lot about this guy. Just a quick little story too. We spoke about when Antonio Brown decided was becoming AB.
Yeah.
And there's 2 other guys. Emmanuel Sanders was another guy. Those 2 guys were drafted the same year. And, SMU, I didn't think a whole lot about him coming out of Dallas, and AB coming from Western Michigan. Like, okay, why is this guy drafted, and why does he have this amount of talent? One thing that coaches do is they look at receptions. How many is he catching? How often is he catching the ball? You have guys at 100-yard reception guys every single year in college. That says what about them, Will? They can play. They can catch the ball. I know on film, he has a lot of tape of him receiving and doing something with the ball. That's how Antonio Brown was found. That's how Emmanuel Sanders continues to be on rosters to this day. It's because they have a knack for catching the ball, and that's what you're speaking of when it comes to a Kyle Phillips type. Mm-hmm. Well, 29 straight games of a reception, that says a lot.
Yeah.
There's some guys that don't get that over 2 games, or it might there's no level of consistency to it. That's a great point to be made there.
I think there are a lot of guys who pick up NFL contracts that become NFL wide receivers who feast against the group of 5 opponents, right? Who are so good against those smaller schools. And that level of consistency is, I think, an important part of the evaluation, not just doing it against San Jose State, but doing it against USC.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. I think San Jose State might have been better than USC the past couple of years. So that's probably being too disrespectful to the Spartans over there in California. Kyle Phillips, also a California guy, grew up in California, and he's a part of now, I guess, the mass exodus of California to Tennessee. Like, he was kind of drafted into it, but
he buys a
I wonder
house
if he
there.
knows how many of his compatriots live in the volunteer state, specifically Nashville.
A good bit of them. That's for doggone sure, Will.
Other headlines around the NFL preseason games last night. The Baltimore Ravens continue to be the 85 Bears of preseason.
Ooh.
They've won 22 games in a row now with a 24-17 win over the Arizona Cardinals. So the Titans' first and last preseason opponents playing one another. How about rookie tight end Isaiah Likely? Coming out of Coastal Carolina, 8 catches for 100 yards,
Yes, sir.
including a touchdown, and an offense that now has a need for another pass catcher without Hollywood Brown in it. That'll be music to Lamar Jackson's ears. A guy that Tennessee fans, by the way, are going to have to see again this weekend. Did you watch any of this Arizona game last night?
I did not. Honestly, I did not, man.
So Tennessee fans and Titans fans who are Vols, just prepare yourself. I know we like violence on this show, and we like,
Oh, I know where you're going.
Jarrett Garantano has a touchdown pass last night for the Arizona Cardinals, and he is in a battle with Trace McSorley to make that Cardinals roster and or practice squad. So Jarrett Garantano is going to be in Nashville all week, battling with
can we
possibly
get out,
Theo Jackson.
Can we get out in front of this?
Please do.
Let the kid
Let him live.
be.
Please let him live.
Okay.
The guy did his best. He didn't transfer until there was nothing else for him to achieve, and it was too far gone at Tennessee.
And we see why now, right?
And I talked about this with my buddies from Tennessee, and it's unfortunate.
It is.
That I don't remember a Tennessee player that has been as universally disliked as that guy. Truly, I cannot think of a player that has played for Tennessee that Tennessee fans dislike more than him. And honestly, I think it's pretty disappointing.
It's kind of low class.
It is.
The kid gave all he could. He was the best for the situation. And who did you have after him? We had nobody.
No.
we had nobody.
No.
And look at the stability of what Tennessee was. Like, you had this kid that was throwing from a very close source of mine.
Yeah.
You had a head coach who was so conscious and so, what do we want to call, rabbit ears about anything that was done, said. Insecure.
Yeah.
Thin-skinned. Those
he
types
had two
of things.
insecure coaches.
That was calling plays they hadn't ran since camp.
That's right.
Little small nugget here. You install a lot of stuff in camp just to get looks at to see if it actually can work. And then you move towards the regular season and you work on what you're actually good at. Let's build off of this. And if you get to a point and say, hey, guys, go back to your playbook. You remember that play we ran on play 52? We're going to run that this week.
Absolutely.
That's what happens. You don't pull that play out during a game and run it cold. That happened. That happened in Georgia on that.
I think the more we learn about Jeremy Pruitt, his leadership style, and the way we saw things go really sour really quickly for Pruitt at Tennessee, I think now it's time for Tennessee fans to take a deep breath and think it's time to let this guy live and wish him the best, right?
It is.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sensitive, but
no, as Knock Trop said, mustard bottle smelling of Everclear type of offense. That's who they were, man.
Jeez.
But he didn't do anything to warrant it. Was he as good as you thought? No. But he was his best, clearly, that when he had, because there was nobody behind him that stepped up and take the job. We had to wait on Hendon Hooker to come in and get that done.
And I've heard that same story, too. And the more we hear about Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee, he was micromanaging the offense on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
It was Tyson Helton's offense. It was Jim Chaney's offense until all of a sudden Jeremy Pruitt would come on that headset and say, I want this right now.
Yeah.
Run this play. And it's hard to just, as a defensive guy that, was having trouble calling his defense.
Yeah.
To step in and do those things. I mean, I was talking to Trent Dilfer a couple weeks ago for a high school football media day here, and he said he would go through last year with his quarterback, Luther Richardson, and have a packet of every single one of their plays that they had installed.
Mm-hmm.
And on Friday mornings, or it may have been Thursday nights, but the day before their games, he would have Luther go through with a green highlighter if he was comfortable running it, and a pink one if not, and then an orange one if, hey, let's talk about it and maybe decide.
Yep.
And he said, now, I knew I had a lot of trust in my quarterback when everything was green and everything was good, right?
Yep.
It's not the case for every quarterback.
No,
it's not the case in college offenses. And for offenses that are more complicated, perhaps, than a high school offense with respect to
let's be honest,
the outstanding offense.
Fragile, too, because there was a lot of instability in that offense that year.
A lot of instability. Yeah.
Oh,
so anyway, all that to say, Tennessee fans, when Jarrett Garantano is in town this week, just let it breathe.
Let it breathe.
Just let it ride.
Actually, tell the kid, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm with you.
We know that ain't gonna happen, Will, but that's where I'm at.
No, I agree. One quarterback that did have a good preseason contest yesterday, Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes. How about him going 14 of 16 for 116? Had a pick that a pass that deflected off his rookie tight end Daniel Bellinger's hands, but pretty good showing for him.
It was. I saw him smiling on the sideline. That said a whole lot about him, man, as far as how he's feeling. Brian Dable is he's high on him.
Yeah.
They're at least giving him a shot, giving him a chance. To me, I feel like there's something there because he's a cut guy. He's a Coach David Cutcliffe guy.
Absolutely.
So
Cut still loves him, too. We talked to him about that in Atlanta.
And so for me, it's kind of hard to say, flush him, just simply because – New York has just been badly managed, too. The New York Giants have been badly managed. And that right there can ruin players' careers and coaches' careers a lot faster than your actual play will, man. So We're going to see what it's going to look like, but you're right. He did look good. Patrick Mahomes played this weekend.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, the quarterback, played this weekend too, which is why I asked Kevin Dyson, that question, do you want to see Tannehill? Because you have those guys playing, but Tannehill's situation ain't like those either. So
Right. Absolutely right. Coming up next, coming up at 8:30, we talk with the professor. That's what he's known now in the Titans locker room. Kyle Phillips, Tennessee Titans rookie wide receiver, will chat with us for a few minutes coming up in the next segment. It is Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons, right here at 104.5 The Zone.
There's always stiff competition when it comes to buying a home, especially when you have found your dream home and you're competing with other buyers to get your offer selected. It's necessary to have a clear financial approval. Getting pre-qualified with a lender before house hunting makes you stand out from the crowd, giving both you and the people selling your dream home an extra layer of reassurance. Hi, it's Jonathan Schaefer. Make sure you have that advantage.
It is Ramon and Will, powered by all four seasons here on 104.5 The Zone. Hanging out with you until 10 o'clock today. Titans on the practice field at 1:30 this afternoon. Played in Mickey live from Tennessee Titans training camp today. Kyle Phillips coming up in just a couple of minutes. Going to get his thoughts on his opening training camp, what the defensive backs have looked like on the other side of the field, get his evaluation of Caleb Farley, Roger McCreary, and Christian Fulton. And Ramon, I wanted to bring this up to you because there was a very poignant moment in camp a couple of weeks ago when Kyle Phillips kept just killing second, third string defensive backs and kept just absolutely roasting these guys in one-on-ones. And Kevin Byard stepped in and said, all right, Rook, it's my turn. And made sure that he knew it was a pass interference call, but he gave him a little something extra at the end of a one-on-one just to remind him, like, hey, you're not going to roast my guys like this and just get away with it every single time.
Because Byard knows, like, look,
he does know.
Let me pipe this kid down.
And he's the only really veteran in that entire room as far as the secondary is concerned.
You know what? Coaches do that, too. Like, we'd have a young stud defensive lineman coming into practice, and he's working the twos, and guess what coach did? They elevate him. All right. Let's go against these ones.
Yeah, that's right.
Just to see, okay, what's the temperature? What is the actual temperature? And it's comical because football is a blood sport, okay? Let's just be honest. It's a gladiator sport, right? And people want to see matchups. They want to see the big hit. They want to see the embarrassment of it all, too, because you can be riding high, breaking people off, and, just killing them. And the coach will put you in front of the big dogs and say, hey, let them have it real quick. And it's funny to see the coach's reaction. I've been in that position before as a young D tackle getting off doing this thing.
100%.
And I go up against, and I'm not making it seem like I'm all world or nothing like that, but the experience factor of a veteran like a Kevin Byard or myself that will go against a young D lineman, and you're like, you know what? I put him in the phone booth shape. They didn't go far from there. But you put him, like, you humble him real quick to be like, look, that was cute. But this is the real thing over here. It's basically what Byard was doing. And again, Byard said, let me get you before you get me, though.
That's right. Yeah. You know what Will was asking you without asking you?
What's that?
What's a phone booth?
Yeah, it's true. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
He had that look on his face like I was.
As much as I love England,
walk into a booth in order to be on the phone?
Yeah, that's really weird. You got to just carry it around with you. Like,
I keep him in a short space. Okay, it's like you can only go one or two ways.
That's right.
Or three. You
know what? Use elevator next time. He knows what that is.
But if we're going up or down, then that's a bad play. That's
did those have do you have like a touchscreen phone in there?
No, absolutely not. You got to
actually had to put money into a machine.
Oh wow!
And I didn't usually give money back.
You couldn't put your debit card on it and make a phone call.
Venmo it. You couldn't Venmo it and then do it that way.
Wait.
A little direct deposit.
What's Venmo? No, I know. I'm just being.
Third down.
Do you actually carry cash?
No. I don't.
Dude, I've got 5 ones right now in my money clip. I want to make it rain. I'm so excited because I never have any cash.
We get it, dude. You have money.
I never have cash, and I happen to have cash today.
We'll have to put Will under a light pole if you throw them ones, man. They'll go crazy for that.
Oh, goodness.
Go crazy for that.
Todd on the YouTube chat, 104.5 The Zone TV, said, ask Kyle how many rabbits he's hit with a hammer so far this
That's a funny story.
What?
So
I missed something?
Mike Vrabel was talking about Kyle Phillips last week, and his exact quote was, he's been really good. He's going rabbit hunting with a hammer. Vrabel is going back to I think he was born in the 1930s and coached football in that era recently with some of these sayings. Between that and
he got that from another coach, but
Aaron Brewer being tougher than a $2 steak. We've had a lot of Vrabelisms where I'm like, are you are you a grandfather? What are you?
You know what he's doing, Moan?
What?
He's moving in on Coach T's territory.
That's what I was thinking. He's getting his cliches and catchphrases.
We do not care.
Yeah, man. Or nobody's better than Coach Mack, though. Ford over Roosters.
Isn't it? That's the absolute best. Isn't it funny that when a coach wins, it's like, oh man, these are funny sayings. Then when Butch Jones does it and loses, everybody loses their minds. Everybody loses their minds.
5-star heart.
As they should. I'm not blaming anybody for losing their minds over the 5-star heart comment.
I hate looking up a Tennessee meme or GIF, and there's that trash can. I hate that one. I'm like, that is the most embarrassing.
I remember when they did the trash can, thinking to myself, this is not going to end well.
The trash can was around for like 3 years too, by the way. But it was that Georgia Tech game on Labor Day when Daniel Batuli still is tackling Georgia Tech players in that game. He had 25 tackles in that game.
Jeez.
And they focused on it so much on the broadcast that night that it became a bit. Oh, that was bad.
But the trash can was as dumb as Vanderbilt's anchor down.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Equally as dumb.
I wish we could erase it. I really do.
Throw it in the trash can.
No, there's nothing wrong with the anchor because they're the Commodores. That's fine. But an anchor down's been around for a long time. I'm like, wait a minute, you spent $1 million for the logo. You didn't change that?
It's not as good as the fur coat.
Should have got a twofer.
You're right.
Can Tennessee have a...
The logo was so bad. They should have thrown a slogan in as a freebie.
That's a 2-for-1.
Added value.
Buy one bad promo, get another free.
BOGO.
Vanderbilt Commodores.
You know what? For this 1.2, man, let me go and throw this in there for you.
That's right.
You think you're getting a deal? In reality, you not.
Nah, we'll get new upholstery in this vehicle, man. It's gonna be good. It's not used. It's pre-loved.
No,
it's pre-loved.
That's right.
It's the floor mats that you're gonna give free.
You know what I'm gonna? Hey, you know what I'm gonna give you? Mud flaps. Free of cost. Don't hurt me. Happy to help.
And I'll install them for you.
You became a different person in there.
Shafe is always a different person.
That's right. I became a different character.
I'm not comfortable with myself. I got to be somebody else.
So, you want to talk about that? No? Okay.
This is not.
That's too deep for 8:30 a.m. Shane.
Way
you gotta,
too deep for this.
Take it easy on me.
Simmer down.
We're going to be joined by Tennessee Titans rookie wide receiver Kyle Phillips coming up here in just a moment. Yeah. The trash can was not great.
Not great, Bob. Not even a little bit, man. I'm excited to talk to Kyle Phillips, man. This kid has come in, and Coach Mack and Mike Keith and Rhett were talking about him on draft, and when he got drafted, and they were excited about him. Said this Rhett, how Rhett had come up to this kid.
Yeah,
this kid is a steal.
Absolutely,
and Rhett B wasn't wrong, man. So it's good to see, what you think they are, they actually become that. And this early preseason, but this is a good spot for this kid to be in.
And we are joined now on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by Tennessee Titans rookie wide receiver Kyle Phillips, hanging out with us here. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling with you. Kyle, good morning, man. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good.
We're good, man. Hey, take us through the film process and what you take away from Tampa Bay the other night. I know Mike Vrabel was complimentary of your skills in the return game, but what's the biggest thing you took away from the way you played there?
The biggest thing I took away is I think is just that I need to improve in the run game a little bit. There's a few plays I wish I had back. Could have made a little bit better blocks, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the game.
Are you tired of snatching ankles, man? Just simply put, dog. Like you line up, and I don't know if they're trying to underestimate you or they don't think you're as fast as you are, shifty. But like, do you have ankles like hung up in your room at this point?
Yeah, and it never gets old. I love it every time.
So you do take pride in this, man. But the way you set guys up, what actually got you to this point in which you run your routes? Because that's been the most unique thing other than your return game. And we'll get to that in a second. But where did that actually start from? And how do you go about building on top of that?
Yeah, well, from an early age, I knew I wasn't going to be the biggest guy. So in order to play receiver, I had to have good just route running. So from an early age, just what I focused on. I've been lucky enough to along the way have a lot of great coaches and mentors to kind of show me the ropes of running routes, stems, releases, and just everything like that. And so each level I get at, I find a new person. Up here right now it's Robert Woods, and he's been helping me out along the way as well.
And Kyle, Rob Moore, your wide receivers coach, has already called you the professor through this training camp. Kind of take us through that studying process. When you're watching film, are you self-evaluating? Are you watching other wide receivers in the league? What's that process like for you?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a little bit of both. You could always learn something from other people, and then just in the self-study, what we do here is, we're not watching just for the results of, did we get in the end zone or not? It's, how we did it. It's the process of doing it the right way every time and just, really grading ourselves based on that.
Tell me more about what Robert Woods has talked to you about. You guys have a young room there and those wide receivers with Traylon, with you, with Nick and Racy. How instrumental has Robert been in kind of helping bring you guys along?
Oh, it's been huge. Obviously the playbook coming in as rookies is very difficult to pick up, but he's been able to give us little tidbits here and there, to simplify the offense and just allow us to play faster each week.
As far as your time here in Tennessee, being a new pro, just what's been the biggest adjustment? Is everybody that you're playing against up to par? I know, we got the story of the headline about you were cooking everybody in practice, and Kevin Byard finally said, enough is enough. How has that adjustment been with you going against him and just, Christian Fulton and Caleb Farley? What has that been like, as opposed to college?
Yeah, no, and in college, you're best of the best. Obviously, you're going up, you're dominating, winning every rep, whereas here, you're going to have to take some licks, you're going to have to take some losses, but be able to bounce back the next rep and go get a win. So that's kind of been the biggest thing, but it's been good through our practice going against KB and all those guys. They've done nothing but, make me a better football player.
Kyle Phillips with us here on 104.5 The Zone. What did you learn through the experience of your first joint practice, going up against somebody else in training camp versus your own team? What was kind of the biggest thing you took away from last week in those two practices in particular?
I'd say the biggest thing I took away is that those joint practices are really like a game. Each time we go out there, it's not just simply practice. Let's run our plays, let's do this, let's execute. There's a little pride to it. It's our team versus those teams, so it definitely made practice a little bit more fun and competitive.
And you haven't been able to share the field in preseason with Ryan Tannehill, but you were able to in those joint practices, of course, and kind of getting that game feel. How much more comfortable are you with what Ryan wants from you and kind of that process and that relationship coming along at this point of camp?
Oh, yeah, no, I feel very comfortable with him, even just from being in meetings with him. He lets us know exactly what he wants done from us, how he wants the route to look, what spot we need to be in, and even releases how much time we have on it. So he's really able to simplify for us everything and give us a direct answer of what we need to do and kind of where we need to be.
When it comes down to that side of the ball, offensively, yes, you're going to make your hay in other ways on the field too, but the expectations you have for yourself going into the season, I'm sure you're not trying to be an offensive player that's sitting on the sideline whenever the offense is out there. What do you want for yourself this year going into this rookie season?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have any expectations right now, but I definitely obviously want to go on the field on the offensive side, and my biggest thing is, I want to help this team win however I can, whether that's in the run game, pass game, or return game. Really anything I can do to help us win some games, that's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm going to do.
So from one quarterback to another, I asked you about Ryan Tannehill. What about Malik Willis? How have you seen him maybe take a step forward? What have you learned in just kind of working with him about the way he operates?
Oh, yeah, he's been making just huge strides each week, and biggest thing with him is, he's just a playmaker, whether it's with his arms or his legs, the play's not dead until it's blown dead with him. He can make something happen every play.
So Craig Ackerman says that he really likes your vertical speed. Not a lot of dancing around, not a lot of moving side to side. And I wanted to ask you about the tempo at UCLA, playing for Chip Kelly. I got to imagine you've got to make a lot of pretty quick decisions in playing in an offense that moves as quickly as your guys did in college. How did that offense, how did that tempo specifically kind of prepare you to make those quick decisions and play with such confidence and speed in that moment in the NFL?
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's a school in the country that could have prepared me more than UCLA. The coaches over there did a great job. And, yeah, like you said, in that offense, we got a lot of option routes. We got to make split decisions real quick. And so, obviously, that was a little difficult at first. But, as time was going, it started to become more natural to me and just become a part of my game. And then in terms of the return game, the vertical returns, that's what we did at UCLA. Had another great coach there in Deshaun Foster. And he got me really prepared, and now I just, feel comfortable back there, whether it's punt return or a wide receiver on offense.
It happens to most young guys, and where you see talent, being in the league and stuff like that, to where when you've had a good game, good week, or the coaches or other players are talking about you, have you had a vet come up to you and be like, hey, young fella, you're going to be all right? Have you had that conversation yet?
No, not yet. I've got congratulated on a couple plays, but, I haven't really had a game yet where it's in, really played a great game on all sides of the ball, aspects of it, run blocking, pass game, returning. So, hopefully that's coming soon.
Yeah.
Kyle, what's it been like, man, adjusting to Nashville? How much you enjoying just kind of being a part of the many people from California that have now moved to Nashville?
I love it up here. I love country music. I love being up here. The biggest adjustment for me would probably be just the weather and humidity. Coming from San Diego, it's a little different, but so it made practices a little bit harder, but definitely feel like I'm getting used to it now.
Now, I remember talking with your fellow UCLA alumnus, Jayon Brown, when he came here and got drafted here and said, all y'all keep talking about how you got good Mexican food. And I promise you that coming from UCLA, do we really not have that good of Mexican food at all here?
I've yet to find a spot that I like, and I've tried many, so I'm still searching.
Kyle, we will help you get the good spots that you need. You've come to the right place for us, but I am a little disappointed.
Please do.
Please do.
Hey, Kyle,
awesome.
One last thing from me, man. Talking about some of these young DBs, you guys are going to battle every day with Caleb, with Christian, with Roger in your rookie class too. Who has been the toughest DB for you to battle with? I'm putting you on the spot here. In Titans training camp on the other side of the field there for you?
I would probably say being the rookie and Roger. He's very fast, very quick, physical, but he doesn't rely on those things. He's also a technician, so he's very well rounded. And we've gone up against him a lot. I'd say it's been pretty even so far, so it's always fun being able to go against him.
See, Kyle, you let Will set you up. You let him set you up right there, okay? Because the cocky side is you supposed to say, nobody.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm that dude. Like, come on, man. You don't let him. No, don't take a back seat to nobody. What are we doing here? Yeah. But Roger's been good, man. Kyle, we're impressed with you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay head down. Keep a humble approach to it. It's been fun watching you and hearing all the headlines behind you at camp, too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Kyle Phillips here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Kyle, great stuff. Appreciate the time, and you let us know when you find a Mexican place that lives up to your expectations being from California.
I'll let you guys know. You'll be the first ones.
I love it. Kyle Phillips with us. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, Roger McCreary.
Roger. We can say it's two constants that's come out of camp from the young guys.
Yep.
It's Roger McCreary.
Yep.
And Bobby Trees. Those two dudes have been constants that we've talked to young guys, other guys, even Caleb, like who's helped him through this process. Well, Robert Woods, a.k.a. Bobby Trees. And then you ask about, who's
Bobby
performed
Trees.
well. And when you ask who performed well, it's been Roger McCreary every single time.
Got that dog in him.
Bobby Trees might be – can we go there for a second?
Let's do it after the break.
Okay, all right.
Let's tease that for the break. Let's talk more about Robert Woods, the impact that he's having on this wide receiver room, and react to what Kyle Phillips had to say there with us. Ramon and Will right here, 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool? Well, don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your own home. It's Ramon Foss, and I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. They are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on their repairs. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months, no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. They also back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer is at its hottest, and it's going to get a little steamy this week, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
Ramona Will, powered by all 4 seasons on 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate Kyle Phillips hanging out with us. Check out the podcast, Ramona and Will, wherever you download audio for that full conversation. 615-737-1045 is the number. Got a couple of open segments here where we can take some phone calls, talk some Titans and Bucs before Kayla Anderson checks in hour number 4 at 9:20.
Daddy.
So you guys had your fantasy draft over the weekend?
Yeah, we did.
Yep, yesterday.
We did.
How are we looking?
I'm actually kind of tight.
Okay.
I need another quarterback, but
Was yours on auto select?
Mine was because I was out of pocket this past weekend.
And according to ESPN Fantasy Football, you know who drafted the best roster?
Who?
You.
Did you really?
On auto.
That's a humble brag by ESPN. That's patting themselves on the back.
Well, I got Jalen Hurts, Joe Mixon, Javonte Williams, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Goddard, David Montgomery, Colts defense, and
defense.
and kicker Greg Joseph from Minnesota.
Titans
on my
legend.
bench though, Marquise Brown, Tyler Lockett, Chase Edmonds, Chris Olave, Damian Pierce, Scott Moore. And DJ
I think Sky
Chark.
Sky Moore is going to be a player for
I need
Kansas
another
City.
quarterback, but Jameis is out there. I might scoop up Jameis, and I really can't drop nobody.
So I mentioned this because one of my buddies had a fantasy football punishment over the weekend.
Oh.
Which one of the two buddies you
That
had?
is one of the it was the other one.
You nut.
Hey, take it in stride, baby. And it was one of the best I've heard. So I have one group of friends, by the way, too.
It better be good the way you setting this up.
Their
too.
punishment was taking the ACT. Not his, but no, that's one that like people do.
You had to go. Oh.
No, I did. Like my friend didn't, but this is just another one that I have another group of friends that they're like, yeah, you have to go take the ACT.
I would too. That's 4 hours, right? That's 4. Shafe, you willing to spend a Saturday doing the ACT over again?
No.
All right, so
I never did the ACT.
Bet.
I did the SAT
You
twice.
did the SAT?
Okay.
Yeah.
I did the
The
ACT.
yeah, we had
first
to take
time
it twice too.
I was partying all the Friday night before.
Humble
Went in
brag.
and did the SAT.
Hard
I wasn't.
flex.
And it didn't go well. And then I went and took it one more time and only did 30 points better, and I didn't study for either time. So
Really?
that's why I had to go to state school.
But that's funny. One of my buddies had to wear, you know how they came out with the male romper?
Yeah.
He had to wear a male romper on Broadway.
Yeah.
They did their fantasy draft for this season on Broadway. And he had to wear a sash like he was on a bachelorette party.
No.
With a romper and wear a hat that says, I suck at fantasy football.
I think I might have seen them after the Titans
No
game
way.
on Saturday night. Really? I might
That's
have.
like one of my best friends. Yeah.
No. What? Okay, I guess we got to open up on this one. What?
By the way, what's wrong with your generation? You're wearing rompers?
It's called a romp him.
Rump.
I'm serious. That's what
Is
they
that
call
really
it.
the name?
Phrasing.
Can you imagine? Okay, what's the punishment for the person that loses your fantasy league? It's some crazy ones. I saw another one where a guy had to dress up in a tutu with a sash on, also with like a queen hat on. Like, yeah, that I saw that recently. And what's crazy, you're just now paying it off right before the season starts.
Right.
So I guess it's from one fantasy draft to another is how you pay it off.
So my favorite way of determining draft order is the golf tournament before your draft. Everyone picks a golfer to support during that tournament, and whoever does the best, and it's literally that's the order of the draft is whoever wins it, or March Madness bracket challenges. I feel like a lot of people do that.
I hadn't heard of
to
that.
pick their order.
Oh, you're deep into this, Will.
Oh, big time.
I'm
in 3 leagues this year, which is probably too many.
He's so busy with the other leagues that when he was invited to join
I had already committed.
the fam league,
Yeah.
you know what Will had to say?
I'd already committed. I did feel bad
What a
about that.
high class bougie little. Oh my gosh! Don't tell us no. What's wrong with you, man?
You're not getting me eighth and roast again, are you?
I'll tell you what.
I'll be buying the pastries
You will
next time.
Not be on the Christmas card list.
615-737-1045.
Don't try to get friends now. Giving out this. That's not Will's personal number, okay?
No, it's not. The first number is the same. That's about it.
You know, was what Will was
because
called
we've had
when
that
he turned down
conversation
that
before.
invite?
What's that?
He's a suckish quarterback.
Thank you.
What? That's Coach B, right?
I have had that conversation before, though, with you guys that since my phone number starts at 7, if I'm really tired, I'll just like start giving my number and be like, "What? No, nobody wants that."
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, one time I was like 3, 7, 1. Good times.
Don't give out your number on there. Yeah, you did do that.
I didn't like actually do it.
Yeah,
I didn't actually give it, but I like stopped for a second.
You almost gave up your number.
There was one time.
You were here when you did that.
I think so.
Recently.
That was one of the days I literally woke up at 5:45 and was in this seat at 5:55.
I remember. And I'm looking around.
Which I don't do now.
You're damn right.
Yeah, Schaefer's like, if you want to be on the show tomorrow, you're not going to do that.
Hell no. Hell no.
One more hour of the show. Four's up, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth quarter.
Four's up, baby.
We're going to get ready for final hour with Kayla Anderson coming up at 9:20. Let's reset the headlines a little bit. Talk a little bit about Robert Woods helping out this wide receiver room. Let's do that after the break. 3 hours down. 1 to go. Best hour yet. Next on Ramon and Will.
When it comes to large home repairs, and no, I don't mean the size of your home, but I mean like the repairs that you got to sit down and think about. There are a lot of times we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repairs. It could be something big that needs to be fixed. It could be a small problem now that will become a bigger, or even it could be nothing, okay? Bottom line, we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. We need a peace of mind as homeowners, and United Structural Systems is the company to give you that. When USS comes out to your house, you're getting the problem solvers who provide a peace of mind to their customers, the homeowner. USS is based right here in Middle Tennessee. They are members of our community, which I love. I truly do. USS has been in business for 25 plus years, and they're not going anywhere. United Structural is who you want doing your repair work. They are who you need to call. United Structural Systems, serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can visit them online at USSTN or call 615-227-2275. We guarantee our best. Call USS.
9:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans hitting the practice field at 1:30 this afternoon. Blaine and Mickey will be there broadcasting live from St. Thomas Sports Park. Titans preparing for more joint practices, this time with the aforementioned Arizona Cardinals. Titans defeated the Bucs 13-3 this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. Malik Willis went 7 of 17 for 80 yards and a touchdown. Major League Baseball yesterday, Astros beat the Braves 5-4. Meanwhile, the Mets defeated the Phillies 10-9. New York, a 4-game lead over the Braves in the NL East. Last night at Geodis Park at the Castle, Nashville SC blasted FC Dallas 4-0, and it wasn't even really that close. For the boys in gold, the win snapped their 6-game winless streak. And Nolensville, undefeated so far in Little League World Series play, faces Hagerstown, Indiana today at 2 o'clock. Ryan Foundation Repair and Waterproofing needs. Visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 4 on this Monday morning. Ramon and Will, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. Crew is here. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. Ramon Foster to my left. I'm Will Bowling. Great to have you with us. Kayla Anderson coming up in 15 minutes. She was on the sidelines for the Titans Network on the television side and did a terrific job over the weekend. Happy for her.
Yeah. A heavy workload, man, and crushed it.
Absolutely. She was on TV late last night. Afterwards, that's a full week.
That's a full week. So whenever you complain about
you were on a lot of radio, she was on a lot of TV.
That's right.
People didn't even have to see you fall asleep.
Handshake emoji.
United as one.
That's right. That's right.
Yes,
it's like to do a verbal meme, the two really buff guys, doing an arm wrestling, and they're holding the hands together. And it's me and Kayla being on the air literally all week.
But her biceps are bigger than yours.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's fine. I'll take that. I'll
accept you. Me and you and me.
Hey, you and me. Look at me. Look at me. You know what you are right now, Ramon?
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
It's okay. I'm just going to perform the rest of the show under protest. 615-737-1045
What do you think
is the number.
Exactly.
Really?
They don't want to be here with you. Nah, I'm playing.
It's okay. At least I have Ethan Roast over here. So talking about Robert Woods, Kyle Phillips brought this up with us in the last hour. Robert Woods is, I was kind of thinking about what to talk to Kyle about today and was putting this on paper last night. Robert Woods really is kind of the Kevin Byard of that offense.
Yeah, it was needed too.
Meaning that he's got a lot of youth around him and has, as still a young guy in his 20s, a lot of experience compared to the guys in that room. How important is it for you, Ramon, for Robert Woods to be in the preseason game this upcoming weekend against Arizona and to take that teaching process to the field and help get more chemistry with whichever quarterback plays on Saturday?
Oh, for Robert Woods?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's overly important for me to have him. Now, if Tannehill's out there, I want to see Robert Woods
it's
out
there.
It's
It's a package deal if one plays, the other one's got to.
That's exactly what it is to me with Robert Woods.
Makes sense.
Again, I think you want him week 1 and not having a reset in the game because, as you heard Vrabel speak about when it came to Caleb Farley, like you look at the adrenaline, you look at the push, you look at how tired and you can be from overexerting yourself in that type of game. Why use that in a preseason game, especially this third one when it's more young guys that need more touches and more field work when it comes down to him. We know what we're going to get out of Bobby Trees. We just simply do, man. And if Tannehill's not playing and it's Malik, I don't want Robert Woods in a situation. And you want to know why? Malik tends to bail out. There's one thing we hadn't really dove deep into today also is the play of his. Vrabel made a very piercing comment about how we're not trying to live, right? Shafe, do we actually have that one? When he was speaking about Malik, well,
not at the moment.
It went like this though. It's like it's hard. What did he say, Will? It's hard making a living running out of the back of the pocket.
That's exactly what he said.
And for a guy like Bobby Trees that would play with Malik if he did play this weekend, he's got to watch out for his legs. He's got to watch out for the scramble. Malik might be running behind him. And again, I hate defensive players, but I love them at the same time because you have a guy like Robert Woods that's out there, and they'll simply push Bobby Trees over the pile when he's not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? In a game where it's probably some younger guys playing defensive reps against him. So I don't want him out there with Malik. And am I hard on Malik right now in that assessment? Yeah, because his coach kind of just said that. I put on there, I was writing down my notes a little bit when we were watching the game, and I kind of put it down, and I don't know if Vrabel was being spiteful, funny, or just, look, learn your lesson when he made that mistake, when he made this call. But they went forward on 4th and 2 with Malik. It was an option handoff. Malik kept it. Ideally, or in the past in college, Malik is making that run.
Yeah.
It's almost as if Vrabel and Todd Downing called that play to kind of let him know, look, you can't do this anymore, not at this rate.
Right.
Because guys are as fast, if not faster than you. And not just that. I told you all the time, you ask any college player, they'll tell you defensive players in college are dumb. Not just by the aspect of them not being smart enough. There's some really smart players, but you're playing with freshmen sometimes and sophomores, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
So the experience is not there. Meanwhile, you come to the NFL, this dude's got 7 years.
That's a grown
league.
man on the other side on that line of scrimmage.
Let's call this run option.
Yeah.
All right, pull it, Malik. Watch what happens. That's why we're telling you, stay in the pocket just a little bit longer. I almost felt like, Will, it was called to show him.
Yeah.
You can't do this anymore.
Like let's push the limits a little bit
and
here.
Then he said it after the game. It's hard making a living running out the back of the pocket.
And to an extent, that's what preseason is about, right? Learning what those limits are and making mistakes within the framework of this works, this doesn't. We mentioned the highlighter thing. Trent Dilfer used. So, do we want to move something from an orange to a green?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to try some things that don't work and see what happens. This is what Mike Vrabel had to say post-game about Malik.
Thing that, obviously that stood out was, we were able to rip a timing route in there to Nick early in the game, which is something that he didn't do last week. And we worked on it in practice, and it was cool to see him be able to hit that. And maybe you can kind of see how the whole process works, the play pass, the timing of it, and, 21-yard gain. Other things that we still have to, and we still want to be able to work on. The operation, at the line of scrimmage, the command. I just think it's tough to run, talk to him about running out of the back of the pocket. And there's times where he's going to take off and make plays, and protection breaks down, and he's going to shrug guys off, and he did that. He found Dez, found his son. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, especially our quarterbacks. And you run out of the back of the pocket in this league, these guys are coming. So we'll continue to coach him and his pocket presence and being able to keep his eyes downfield. And, it's such a fine line, but just look at the beginning part of the game and the one timing pass that we needed to complete and wanted to see him do. He did it. So we at least made some progress there, and then we'll continue to work, on some of the other stuff.
So there is Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel talking about Malik Willis's night against Tampa Bay in the 13-3 win. I think he's on the money in the way that Malik escapes the pocket, right? Because there were a lot of plays where he was coming out and then around.
Yes, sir.
And those edges are a lot quicker. They're more like inside linebackers in college. They've got that level of speed, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those guys. There were a couple plays, I'll give Malik credit, where it was play action, rolling him already out of the pocket, and then he's decided, all right, I don't have my read in the flat. I don't have the deep option. Both those levels are taken. I'm going to run. And 3, 4, or 5 yards, and that's fine. I think if the Titans had to go to Malik Willis in a regular season game at this point, you would see a lot more of that just to keep him comfortable.
And we talked about this past weekend, too. It was me, you, and Shay for texting each other. And I kind of had a sense of reality about his situation as it is right now with Malik. And I said, man, I almost don't want to be too hard on him on staying in the pocket. Whereas his best means of being safe, making plays for this Titans team as it stands right now might be to actually run it.
Absolutely.
But do you trust that throughout the season, though, Will? Like, if that's your option and if he turns into your number 2, do you actually trust that, though? But as far as his safety, as far as the operation of the offense, you almost kind of want to see him run. But again, like, you got to break the tendency. Because I'm going to send the house. I know this. If I get him rattled up the middle, he's going to peel out.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the point to be made. In those situations, you better bail out and do something instead of getting smoked across the middle of your chest plate. So it's nothing wrong in that. But as a pro, Lamar stands there at least for a minute. Okay, Patrick stands there for a minute. We're talking about Russ stands there. Dak stands there.
It's been a knack on Mahomes, too.
It has.
And last year, he was escaping the pocket when the Titans just crushed Kansas City at Nissan Stadium.
And what we're saying is this, though. To your point earlier, this is not 18-year-olds anymore.
No.
And defenses will snuff you out and flush you to where they'll make you do what they want you to do. You know what I'm saying? And again, what's impressive, though, Will, is him breaking outside of the pocket, and I think it may have been Dez or somebody he missed on the pass. And
it was Traylon Burks.
It was Traylon.
Yeah, wide open.
He flung it, though, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
He got the arm strength is there.
It absolutely is.
And you kind of want to see it grow is all we're really saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be that step. And maybe this is a spring thing.
Yeah. 615-737-1045 is the number. I want to give him credit on the touchdown throw to Okonkwo.
Yes, that was beautiful.
You watch what the defense was doing. Not one, but two quarterback spies with their heels on the goal line, waiting for him to take off. And it's almost like they were too focused on him taking off, because then Okonkwo finds the seam between the safety on the weak side and the inside linebacker that's closest to him. And Malik Willis had a fastball.
Yeah, he did.
That he threw there. And I think that's the source of some frustration with Malik Willis, and also the detailed analysis that Mike Vrabel is continuing to give on him is the arm talent is there, and he's got certain elements of his game that it's obvious you can't teach it.
No.
And when you have that, you got something to work with for the future.
And that's all you want, man. If you're asking me who's QB2 at this point, I still got to go with Logan.
Really?
And then when I ask you, Will, how comfortable do you feel about that? Other than Babs, because Babs is, head honcho of the Logan Woodside fan base. What are you getting out of those two? And I think that's where the pressure of getting better and accelerating your development comes with Malik, though, too.
I'm higher on Logan Woodside than most people are. I think we're going to get to the point where, kind of like Ryan Stonehouse and Brett Kern, you're going to keep the younger guy just, based off of the risk of, obviously losing them and letting Logan Woodside go. Because I think at this point, if there's a positive for the way Logan Woodside has played this training camp, he's going to stick on your practice squad.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not going to get picked up by somebody else with the 3 interceptions in 2 games unless it's Atlanta.
Wow.
Literally, unless the Atlanta Falcons and Arthur Smith decide, hey, let's add another former Titan to the mix.
So what you're telling me is you're still not comfortable with 2 or 3. That's what you just said.
No, and I think for Malik, the process would have to change substantially for him, because the offense they're calling for him in the preseason is not at all what they would call for him if he was in there in a competitive atmosphere.
So everybody adjusts around Malik if Malik has to come in.
I think Malik is QB2 right now. I'm at that point. The second quarter, first quarter, absolutely not.
I'm with you.
Against Tampa.
I can see
We're
that being
seeing
the
him
case.
take steps. Little steps.
He may be QB2, but who are you more comfortable with going into a game?
Malik Willis for me.
Wow, I'm taking Logan. And I'm okay with
it. It's a different offense.
Yeah.
Now, comfortable running the offense Ryan Tannehill's running, I'm more comfortable with Logan Woodside. More comfortable making plays and playing above their weight, Malik Willis, 100%.
Yeah, because I think it's 2 different questions.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
See, there we go. Playing a little volleyball, man.
Well, let's ask Kayla Anderson this. Coming up next. Kayla was on the sidelines for Titans and Bucs over the weekend. We'll get her takeaways. We will commend her on a very wonderful performance. Did a great job. So we will get the lowdown on Titans training camp coming up next with Kayla. It is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. It's Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons here on 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster hanging out with you. Jonathan Schaefer, the best producer in the world.
The best producer in the world.
That's the quickest response time that Schaefer has anytime that he needs a drop.
The best producer in the world.
Oh, we're going to hear it again. Okay, cool.
Man is good. The best producer in the world.
Joining us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, the best sideline reporter in the world. Kayla Anderson, News 2, hanging out with us. Kayla, great job over the weekend.
Yeah, what it worked.
Hey, thanks, you guys. It was kind of a crazy situation because I kind of found out last minute. And for me, like doing something like that for the first time, you know, with the Titans, the NFL Network took it. So I knew like people from outside of Tennessee could possibly see it. I'm not going to lie. I had some nerves. And, you know, I really just wanted to say, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everybody on social media that reached out, words of encouragement, and just said, good job. It seriously helped me through the entire thing. So thank you, and thank you guys for the support. It was a blast, guys.
Absolutely was. I enjoyed watching it. Really, really cool to see. From your vantage point, watching this game, watching the Titans kind of take this next step through the preseason, which player stuck out to you the most in a good way for this Titans team over the weekend?
Well, I think it would be probably stupid of me not to at least bring up Malik Willis, just because the biggest thing that we've heard from Mike Vrabel and the coaching staff about him is he making progress? And this isn't even us talking about the backup, you know, quarterback battle. This is talking about Malik as a quarterback coming in as a rookie, needing to work on the things he needs to work on. Is he doing that? And I was really impressed with just the steps that he's been taking. And he admitted himself that he's been trying to keep himself in the pocket a little bit more, trying to give him time before he kind of just decides to run. That's his natural instinct, is to run. That's what he did so much at Liberty. But I was kind of impressed with he went out there and put up big numbers, and I think he was like 7 of 17 passing for 80-something yards. But I think for the most part, you saw him getting a little bit more comfortable with maybe staying in the pocket, not running right away. I know he had a ton of time. The line provided him with some time on that touchdown to Chigo Okonkwo. Yeah. But I just think getting that touchdown, building that confidence, knowing, okay, I can do this, I can see my options, I think that was really important. And he just continues to impress me with his attitude, guys. I mean, this is the most cool, calm, collected rookie that I've personally covered on a stage like the National Football League. I mean, he just gets up there, he answers all the questions, he's completely honest, and it's like on to the next one. What can I get better about? I just think it's impressive.
And I think it's really good, too. You mentioned just his honesty and the conversations he's having with us as media after practice and after these games. He's been really honest in his assessment of himself and being negative and saying, look, I've got to stand in the pocket. I've got to make more throws, put my foot in the ground and not trying to escape the pocket. I really thought, too, just Kayla, within the context of that game, the first quarter that wasn't so great, just bouncing back within one quarter to another. Is so crucial in his development, because that second quarter, I know the bar isn't super high for him right now because we know this is kind of a redshirt year for him, but just going from one quarter to another, I thought he was really good in that second quarter.
I did too, and that can get for any young player. You have a first quarter like that. First of all, it was just back and forth in terms of just the defense was dominating, right? And they just weren't able to get anything going. There wasn't a flow that they were able to get going on offense. And a regular rookie, let's say, maybe could get frustrated or just, not be able to bounce back and keep their mind in the right place. But he was able to do that. And so then you saw a little bit more of that, the offense starting to find some flow in that second half. And then you end things, pretty much the first half with that touchdown. And it really just got the bench going. I mean, you should have seen Derrick Henry and Jeff Simmons. And that's what I love about preseason games at home, because I think it's really cool that the vets are on the sideline, and when these rooks make a good or bad play, they're there to either pump them up or be like, okay, get back in there. I think that's so important in the growth process when you're a pro.
Yeah, it is, and we had Kyle Phillips on earlier, and we haven't seen him. That's our guy, and we hadn't seen him. We hadn't seen Bobby Trees play, but he talked about a guy who was influential in his development. And we've heard other guys in that locker room, specifically young guys, say that exact same thing. Kayla, like, what do you see his role being this year? Not just on the field, but off the field, as far as his play and just leadership with Robert Woods.
I think, you're talking about, you want me to talk about Phillips or Woods?
Robert Woods. He's the guy you speak about the vets being excited for you.
Yeah, I talk about in the future Coach Trees right there, because, man, that guy is a natural when it comes to just his leadership and just the way he goes about being a pro. I've been around him since he arrived, and every time I talk to a younger player, they bring up his name. Specifically, when I was talking to Dez earlier on in training camp, and I asked Dez just about the process of, trying to take another step this year, right? Trying to do more film study. The first person he said that has helped him immensely is Robert Woods. He said, I was a big Robert Woods fan growing up, just watching him, in college, and he's done so much to help me. He goes, he gives me his number. I can text him at any time if I have any questions. I mean, he was raving about him. And that's one out of how many guys that we've talked to that have said that same thing. Getting Robert Woods on this team in that wide receivers room this year, I think is probably going to be one of the best gets that they've had in a while. I think that we're going to see that Woods can do what he can do on the field because he looks like he's recovering and he's going to be able to go. But I just think his presence as a veteran, having that and having him at access at all times for those younger players, I think it's going to be huge for this team.
Yeah, it could be. And back to the game and the guys that kind of played in it. Kayla, you were on the sideline. You did the post game. I'm sure, rewatched it and just studied this too. With that being said, where are we at this right tackle position? Again, started off Dylan Radins. And I'm a firm believer in that in the beginning. But now I'm a little unsettled right now with the way NPF has been playing.
Man, maybe I'm biased because I covered Ohio State. And every team I cover, I got a little love for them in my heart. So, I mean, MPF, honestly, though, is really continuing to impress me. And there's two different things with Raiden and NPF. NPF is a little bit bigger of a guy with, he's got the strength, he's got the longer arms. Raiden can be a little more quick. But Raiden he's got some, he's had some time to be with the Titans. He's had some time to learn the playbook, and it's taken him a little time to get there. And I think right now you can look at it, and they're trading off reps in practice when it comes to running with the ones. I mean, that's what happened in joint practices last week. You had Raidens going with the ones on Wednesday. You had Nicholas Petit-Frere on Thursday. And then in the game action, you kind of saw them both doing their thing. They both got their time. I know that Petit-Frere, I think, actually moved over to left tackle, which I asked him about after the game. And I said, how much is this just continuing to help you with versatility and just learning? Like, it's like, wherever you want to put me, man, I'll be in. And I think that's huge right now because there's worse problems you can have. I mean, having this problem right now is a good problem because if at any point you need to put one of them on the left side, if something happens, you can do that. And in the future, if Taylor Lewan is not here anymore. But I think the biggest thing for Petit-Frere right now, he's so intellectual. He's so just everything is a perfectionist kind of thing for him. He's got to just go out there sometime, guys, and just run over the guy in front of him, just blast the guy in front of him, not even think about it, right? Just sometimes just play the game. And I think that'll be the biggest thing. The minute he does that, I think that's going to be when he's going to be the guy.
I agree with that. And just real quick, mostly for young offensive linemen, especially tackles, because we look at them as their pass protection goes. You get a little hesitant at that position when you got to go out and go against those all-world DNs. So he's got to get uncomfortable in practice doing those things against Harold, against Bud, against Tierra to actually get comfortable in the game doing it. So I will agree with you on that one, Kayla.
Well, you got joint practices coming up, so more opportunities, right? You heard Kyle Phillips tell you guys earlier, this pretty much might as well be a game, these joint practices, because that's how they feel. So you got 2 more of those coming up where he's going to get opportunities to do that.
Kayla Anderson, News 2, with us here on Ramon and Will at 104.5 The Zone. Last week, Kayla, I was more interested in watching this Titans offense just by the nature of the injuries. No TB12 for Tampa Bay. This week, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm really interested in watching this Titans defense against those fast, twitchy wide receivers that Arizona has. I feel like this is a huge opportunity for them and those young defensive backs, specifically Caleb Farley, to really be challenged a lot this week.
That's a great point, Will. And you're also, going to have a guy in Kyler Murray where I'm not trying to hate on those backups in Tampa Bay, but, come on now. It's a different type of quarterback that you're getting in Kyler Murray. And like you said, the shifty wide receivers that they have, this is a different type of offense. I think it's great that they're able to fit 2 joint practice sessions in, during this training camp, because you're kind of getting a little bit of a different look. But the DBs, and we continue to watch Caleb Farley's growth, right? A guy that just hadn't taken a lot of live football snaps, was once a wide receiver, converted into a cornerback. So like Mike Vrabel has said, he's still learning, right? Every single time he can get out there and get experience, whether it be in joint practices or game experience, he's going to continue to, pick things up and become the guy he needs to become here. So I think this week is a perfect opportunity for Caleb Farley, maybe not to have a down day and then bounce back, but let's have 2 good days in a row. Let's string 2 days in a row together where you're feeling good about what you did out there. And not saying you've got to be perfect. But as for Roger McCreary, guys, we were talking about just how impressive he's been as a rookie. And I know we talk about him a lot, but I don't think that he gets like the love that he probably should get for what he's been doing. And in that game this past Saturday, we hadn't talked about him much because why, guys? Nobody threw to it. Nobody threw that way. Okay, so that's why we're not talking about him. So I'm excited to see him really step it up in these joint practices because he's going to get a lot of reps. I'm kind of just excited to see what the defense, how Jeff Simmons said last week that they knew they had to come out and set the tone. Don't you feel like it's going to be taken to another level this week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You doggone right.
And I think there's going to be probably a lot more friction on day one just by what Arizona did the last time they were in Nashville to this Tennessee Titans team than what it was with Tampa.
Oh, yeah. So Taylor Lewan, I'll tell you this much. I bet you if any player is trying to, lick their chops a little bit, it's Taylor Lewan, considering the way that went last year, right?
No doubt. No doubt. You mentioned Roger McCreary. I think it's interesting. We played Mike Vrabel's answer about Caleb Farley and kind of the emotional energy and just kind of staying even when he was asked about why Farley played more than McCreary in the preseason game on Saturday. I think the most telling endorsement to me, Kayla, of Roger McCreary is how little we have seen him in the preseason. I know he's been injured a little bit, but even when healthy, it feels like this coaching staff already knows what they have in him.
I think so too. And I think the minute that they drafted him, they kind of knew that. It's almost like, okay, they had done their homework on this guy. I mean, not a lot of people, like I said, we're talking about Roger McCreary on a national stage, but you know what he did in the SEC, right? And I talked to a lot of folks down in the Alabama area. I used to cover Auburn and Alabama when I worked in Montgomery. And so I have friends down there, and I remember a lot of the broadcasters reaching out to me when they drafted McCreary. They're like, yo, do you know what you're getting? Like, this dude's solid. And I'm like, okay, let me wait to see. And then the minute that we saw him pretty much from the start of camp and he was always there. He was always doing something to have us bring up his name. And I'm just excited for what he can do. And I think the coaching staff, like you said, already kind of knows what they got in him. And I know that this guy, he's picking up things quickly. He's in the room studying. He's kind of quiet, but that's such a good thing when you're a rookie. Just put your head down and go to work.
That's a real cool flex right there, Kayla. Just name dropping all your homies in different cities and stuff. That's cool.
Just flexing my Like my arm here, you know.
I was gonna let it slide, but the way you just dropped that nugget, I was like, all right, you gotta get called out. We're not letting it ride anymore, Kayla.
What other states do you want me to drop, huh?
No, we're good. Another thing this week though is you get an opportunity to go against a very dynamic quarterback that runs, moves around the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
This year, this Titan team has Dak. They have Trevor Lawrence. I will say this real lightly, too. He moved around the pocket and played good. He played good around the Steelers. You have Justin Herbert. You have Jalen Hurts. You got Joe Burrow. You got Aaron Rodgers. These guys are mobile-like quarterbacks in which you can at least somewhat game plan against, Kyler Murray this week. That could be a good test for this defense this year.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to get things going early in terms of, these are some of the kind of quarterbacks we can look at, the guys that are mobile.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do in practice this week to really take advantage of learning and being prepared for a guy like that when we hit the regular season, when it counts. And I asked Mike Vrabel late last week, what can you learn when you have two sessions of joint practice in one training camp? And he's like, we can learn a lot from, okay, what do we want to do different from that first one? What do we want to add more of? And when you've got a different type of a quarterback coming in. And so I know that they're going to switch things up a little bit this week, but it's awesome because they can see, okay, what did we not get out of last week that we want to get out of this week before, everything starts for real. And going up against a guy like Kyler Murray, I know that they're doing a lot there to say, okay, we want to get these guys as much possible reps. Who do we want to get the most reps, with the defense this week? How are we going to go about doing it? But it's going to be, I'll say this, I'm excited to be out there this week and watch this. It's going to be really fun. And I think there's going to be a couple players that'll probably trend in the right direction in terms of their stock.
Yeah.
Kayla Anderson has been our guest here this morning. Kayla, again, great job this weekend. Love being able to watch and appreciate the time as always.
Absolutely.
Thanks, friends.
All right. There is Kayla Anderson on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. Went by quick today.
I want to ask you this, a question about what's decided this week. I'll kind of tease a little bit. Who's going to lock down their starting position this week?
We'll get into that. Go rapid fire headlines, things we missed around the city, around the NFL world. One more segment coming up next before we get you on your way right here at 104.5 The Zone. One final segment of the show this morning on a Monday. It is Ramon and Will. He's Ramon. I'm Will. This is Low by, who's this by?
Flo Rida.
That's what I thought.
Did you used to wear apple bottom jeans and the boots with the fur?
And the boots with the fur. Reports are saying that the whole club is looking at her.
That's, having that red in the style of a 50s
Shotty
newsman definitely
low.
changes it.
Low.
Will's Brentwood.
A Florida
bubble.
man says that Shotty got low.
Oh, that's not even Brentwood. That's just straight
10 out of
white
10.
boy.
Pleasantville.
Yes,
His Pleasantville
that's
bubble.
Pleasantville.
I used to love that movie, man. You know, you really have no movies to watch as a kid. That one always played on like HBO or something like that. I love Pleasantville.
How about Joshua Dobbs?
Dobby boy.
This past weekend. Shout out to a friend of the show, friend of the station.
Friend of ours, man.
Kevin Stefanski saying that he's going to get opportunities and moved around really well. Said scrambled on the left sideline was outstanding. Got us in the right plays like he does. A very intelligent young man. He gave the guys opportunities to make some plays. Says sees it clearly. He's so intelligent and processes things very well. Through 2 preseason games, Ramon, Joshua Dobbs has completed 73% of his passes for 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 carries for 56.
Dude is just a gamer. He was that. Well, I forever tell the story when he came in on a 3rd down for us, backed up into the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
In Baltimore. And I expect the backup quarterback to come in and, hey, hand the ball off. Don't you dare do a thing more than that.
That's right.
He gave us 76 protection. I said, what? You about to throw this?
Yeah.
And he threw an out route on a dime to a receiver for a 1st down, and I hugged him. I was like, go Balls.
Yeah, that's right.
In the game.
And that was his only play.
Yeah, it was his only play. We won that game, too, I think.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs was a huge point.
Good guy.
Talking about sweating beads on the road like that. He's just such a freaking gamer. I love the dude.
He is. And
I wish he wasn't in Cleveland.
When I was at UT with him, it was the conversation around him was he didn't practice well. The lights come on, and he had that it factor. Had that dog in him, as everyone says.
Yes, he does, man. But on the opposite side, last year, Joe Milton looked like a beast in practice, right?
Yeah, he did. The anti-Dobbs.
Couldn't find it. But apparently
we call that the Dormady.
The Dormady. Yeah, golly. But he's gotten a whole lot better from what we're saying. And the way seasons flow, as we speak about the Vols for a quick second, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
If he's gotten better, we've gotten better. You know, with him being a number 2. Plus, he's obligated to a sense because he got NIL deals that'll keep him there.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I don't know that to be true, but I heard he really got some deals, and it's like, well, I might as well stay here, you know?
One headline we did not get to today that we will certainly discuss tomorrow, speaking of Vols news, Brew McCoy and his eligibility has become a talking point. USC releasing a statement yesterday claiming that they are consistent with NCAA rules. They have promptly and accurately responded to all requests from the University of Tennessee. Trey Wallace, Outkick.com, reporting otherwise. Austin Price of VolQuest also saying that there is a little bit of half-truths
I saw that
going on with what USC is doing when it comes to a no participation opportunity form that the Trojans allegedly said they would have signed to make him eligible immediately and then have not done so. So it's something to get into tomorrow.
A half truth is still a full lie, right?
Yeah.
That's correct.
But your ass is still lying.
That is math that I understand.
Yeah, I can't understand this. Why do they still have to sign off on this transfer stuff?
For him, it's just because he's transferred once before.
Yeah, but
the legal issues,
Lincoln
the domestic.
Nobody even look at
dispute for
y'all like
him.
that. SC, not right now.
I know.
And he's actually on campus. God, don't give me started. Don't soapbox me, man. Don't make me grab this freaking box over here as this show ends, because I'm going to go there tomorrow. Okay.
I'm pulling the string in the with 1 minute left in the show, which is really smart by me.
Where is the bug drop? Yeah. That is so dumb. Where was that at? That is so dumb.
But, hey, Moan.
Hold that.
So what's the question you had for me before the break?
I don't even remember.
Ryan Tannehill?
No. Was it Ryan Tannehill? No.
You tell me.
You got me off track with this freaking USC thing. Gotta go back and listen to the show now. But yeah, nah.
How about one of us listen to the show and know what's going on here?
Safe.
I was throwing myself in there.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Coming up tomorrow, more.
6 a.m. Oh, goodness. Fun show today. Man. Special thanks to Kevin Dyson, Kayla Anderson, Kyle Phillips. Hit the podcast if you didn't hear him. Good discussion about the DBs he's being locked up by, Mexican food that he's not enjoying, and everything in between in Nashville, Tennessee. Appreciate you hanging out with us. 4 hours down today. 4 more coming up tomorrow. The party begins at 6 a.m. Titans back on the practice field at 1:30. Buck Rising up next. Blaine and Mickey will be there at 3HL. We got you covered all day right here on The Zone. And on our way out, Ramon Foster, a word for the good people.
Remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.
Later.
Twitter fingers. Can you believe it?